Crimez. 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 Crimez.
Warning: the Federal Communications Commission has determined the following content to be emotionally harmful. Snowflakes should not view this content under any circumstances, even if supervised by a G.I. Joe, Navy SEALs, Army vet, or someone with good common sense. The views and opinions expressed, including the depictions of persons of color, corrupt politicians, white people with or without a tan, haters who have yet to brush their teeth typing angrily in the comment section with hot breath syndrome, do not reflect any official policy or position of the U.S. government. This program contains graphic language, dark comedy, unique intelligence, creativity, a high credit score, and high blood pressure, when triggered. This program has also been accused of racism, violence, misogyny, mansogyny, feminism, MGTOWism, defacement of celebrities, and of course, being a bully. Welcome to Thought Crimes.
Welcome, everybody!
Fucking lie!
Welcome to Thought Crimes, and this is your girl Sensei. I'm here with.
Yo, this is your man P Solo in the building. Yes, it's wonderful, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, them, they, her, no Demi Lovato. Listen, we are here today. Yes, and we appreciate every last one of you all beautiful finger-tipped individuals that decided to slide into this particular live stream. Man, let's get into it. Let's go ahead. Let's check our emails. Let's get it going. I want you all to pick sides as we talk. I want y'all to pick sides. I want y'all to get into it in the chat. I want you all to cancel each other. It's like, don't nobody care. This is a harmonious moment. We're here to enjoy ourselves.
Let's go. So we're going to get into it. First, we're going to start with Alex Jones, of course, and then we're going to get into artists and from other artists, the controversy that's happening during this hot transit. Let's start with Alex Jones. Everyone heard Alex's lawyers basically, by a mistake, allegedly sent incriminating information on Alex Jones to the opposing team.
They got him up out of here.
Now, when we saw that, Prince and I laughed because we thought to ourselves, those lawyers are tired of Alex. That was not an accident.
They got him up out of here. Tired of you. I think they tired of him coming in with mustard and ketchup on his collar, smelling like beef jerky, and telling us, so what are we going to be doing? What's the game plan?
And it's really hard to defend someone who basically was saying that children that are really dead is a lie. It's a lie. Yeah. I mean, when I looked at the case when it was live on Law and Crime, them lawyers looked like they were sick and tired of Alex Jones' shenanigans. So he would go on his show and say, the judge is the devil. She's a part of the cult. And then he's in court. Oh, you got it wrong. That's not what I meant. Them lawyers were tired of him.
They said, get him up out of here. Get him up out of here. We're tired of him. So what happened is that what they're saying is, and what the prosecution team was stating too, and he says, look, your lawyers accidentally sent me all of your phone texting records. And in there, you told me certain things that basically you're committing perjury as it stands right now. And Alex Jones, because a lot of the people that did believe in him, because he puts on a grand performance as if they are really coming against him. But nonetheless, though, he goofed on this one because he went too far. Now, they stated that at the time concerning his Sandy Hook that Alex Jones made a large amount, generating interest of $800,000 a day. And he kind of harped on it for about 10 years. So he was upset sitting on the stand saying, I can't believe they're not, taking it back like I told them. I believe it's real. I believe it's actually real. They keep saying on the news that I'm the guy that said it wasn't. It just. So he doesn't have anything to go on. And sitting there, we talked about this. I do personally believe let's get him out of here. There's no reason. There's no victory. There's nothing else behind it. And honestly, there's no punishment in betraying Alex Jones as it stands right now either. So he made a hefty sum of money. I do believe Alex Jones he's worth a lot more than what he projects. Because when you're talking about,
if I have to pay more than $2 million, I will go broke. I will die. Everyone will be in the streets.
He's not going broke. He's too fat. He's eating. All of that Whataburger, Angus burger in Texas, in Austin, Texas, the cost of living is cheap. That fat man is eating. Did y'all see him with his collar open? He Hollywooding it up in the South. He got money to spare. So they said we're coming for $150 million, maybe even more, whatever forms of restitution we're looking for. Alex Jones made an attempt, or he was looking to move in the direction of bankruptcy. The judge says, you can't do that. She basically hedged him off on a lot of different things. And it kind of shows you how of a witless twat Alex Jones is. He still goes on his show and talks about the judge while still in the middle of the hearing.
He is. Look, he's entertaining. I get why some people liked him, or while some people just like, I don't like you, but it is funny. But here's where it's not funny. If you've been abused like Trayvon Martin's parents, who had to listen to Alex Jones say that they were part of the Illuminati and that their son, it was a hoax and their son was a thug because he just did things that teenagers do. There's some teenagers put the middle finger up, like, who cares? There's adults that still put the middle finger up, right?
There's
but
pastors that do that.
Right, like the one from Brooklyn. Yeah. But everything with Trayvon Martin was criminalized. And also, when it happened to these young children in Sandy Hook, here goes again, Alex Jones. So he's been abusing a lot of parents for the past 10, 15 years since he's been on this hoax train. Even the kids with the Parkland shooting, the same thing happened again. Same energy from Alex Jones. So he's been harassing parents who had to go through the greatest grief that you can go through as a parent is losing a child. And he's been abusing these people for the last 10 years, stalking with his content, with his goons. So when you look at that part, that's not funny. You know, it's actually a very terrible thing to not only lose your child, but to have someone say that the murder of your children, it's fake. This person didn't really murder your children, or make excuses for the people who have murdered, like MK Ultra, or the government sent this person out. Like, the government doesn't have to be involved in every single thing. There are bad people that do things upon themselves. You know, for example, there wasn't every time where we had a mob where you had a white American come and destroy a black town. Some of them people got up and did that on their own without the government even provoking them. So we have to take accountability, and Alex Jones has been a part of a culture of not taking accountability for one's actions and trying to be a bully.
That's who should have been on the BIE report. Oh, you playing games. You playing games, Alex. So Alex Jones ate. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake. Alex Jones has been he's been getting bigger. He's been getting bigger. I mean, he's about the size of Chris Farley. Alex Jones has been eating in Texas. I don't think people understand, if you don't live there, if you've never been there, the cost of living, at the very least, Austin would be rated as more the higher end places to stay in when it comes to like a metropolitan type city. It is the capital of Texas, right? So the thing is that Alex Jones not only made these stories, he talked about, even concerning Trayvon Martin's parents, he said that Trayvon Martin was a sacrifice. He said they were blood sacrifice. I says, okay, so what movie are they in? I mean, where are they being elevated? Because I'm seeing only one out of that space eating is Tamika Mallory. That's another story, okay? All right. So when he was saying that, I mean, look at this. I see, look at this. The father was a Mason. The father was a Mason. All right, okay, you gotta give me more dirt than old black men being Mason stone builders and Stonehenge cutters around the way, and they got their white gloves on, and every now and then they mosey on down the parades during Memorial Day talking about, hold your head up, young black children, you can be something too. That's what I got out of the Trayvon Martin situation. But yes, Alex Jones was allowed to go online for a long time and harass people. Remember, the parents of Trayvon Martin also stated that Alex Jones' energy with his conspiracy kooks went, and these people started harassing them too. Just like, for instance, you have certain people that were the parents of the children, some of the children that died in Sandy Hook. They've moved. They had one set of parents that moved like 10 times, and every time they got a new address, the conspiracy kooks, the Reddit boys and girls, go online and they immediately found their address.
They were getting doxxed. The parents of these children who are deceased were getting doxxed. Go ahead.
And then you have some people, you got to think about it from their perspective too. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, they can't even visit the gravesite of their children anymore. That's actually one of the things that came out in the case. Some of the parents can't even go visit the grave sites of their children anymore. And then Alex Jones, big old dumb dump truck ass, is sitting up there. I don't know what you're talking about.
It was some necromancy. And here's the thing: by somebody who always talking about the occult, always talk about Bilderberg, but yet you're with Roger Stones and Trump. So I don't know how that works. But he kept crying about these things and talking about black magic and all this stuff. And yet here he is performing his own form of necromancy. So now parents can't even visit the gravesite of their dead children. You're conjuring up young bodies that are no longer here and exploiting that for viewership and to create a crazy fan base. And also, for people who feel that Alex Jones has opened their eyes to anything, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, he opened your eyes to nothing. In fact, he actually bludgeoned them further, because he would take information from people like William Cooper, truth tellers that have been around for a long time, some of these truth tellers who even died. He would take their information but then add gasoline on it. So he'll mix facts with lies, furthering confusing people of not being able to make a distinction between good and evil, not being able to make a distinction between the corrupt and those who aren't. People, the lines became more blurred because Alex Jones will take information again from actual journalists, people who worked hard, people like William Cooper, who wasn't an alarmist. He would take their information and then he would add crap on top of it to put out his agenda and and make people get all crazy and start fighting other Americans. He was a sensationalist.
Yeah, so, that's exactly what had been taking place. And what I will say is this, is that good riddance. I'll just be honest with you, good riddance, and I think it's appropriate. And I think a lot of times people did, kind of play into what was going on with Alex Jones and elevate him. And it did. You got to understand the premise of Alex Jones, and this is what we mean in an orchestrated military assassination tour. Be clear. If you want to be honest, Donald Trump has tried to throw his hat in the ring several times, or that wig of his into the ring several times, right? He never really could get any traction outside of being a laughingstock on SNL, maybe some dry Jay Leno monologue, late night jokes with Jimmy Kimmel and all these other people. Oh, Trump's running for president, da-da-da-da. He didn't really catch traction until he was interviewed by Alex Jones on InfoWars. Because Alex Jones has a huge audience, or he had an even larger audience at the time, too, because he was on YouTube, he was on Google, he was playing with the algorithm, he was having his people just be a troll everywhere, right, including Twitter. So when Alex Jones was able to sit down with Donald Trump, and he's going to bring democracy, and he's going to restore the republic, that is what really put wings on top of that. Is really what elevated the wings of Donald Trump, right? Or shined his horns on his head, to be honest with you, right? And from that point on, Alex Jones, after seeing his contribution to Donald Trump's win in the White House, he began to think like, I can control the future. I can do whatever I want. I can say this is fake, that is fake, and this is fake. And unfortunately, because you have stand bases out there, you have people that are obsessives, you have people that are genuinely fans of people's personalities. It is what it is. But when it gets into that tyranny, toxic space, then you get that whole thing about fake news or trying to bend reality or trying to make it out to be something else. The thing that I just do not respect about Alex Jones 100% across the board,
that
clearly,
he didn't admit that he was an entertainer sooner.
Yeah, clearly it's about the money. Because
right.
when he's
the Benjamins,
man,
baby.
he getting checked every day he get on that stand. He doesn't look like an alpha male to me. He's stuttering, he's bumbling, he don't know what the hell he's saying. He got people, like, even when he tried to kind of start a fight in the courtroom, why don't you say it to me like a man? I said, Alex Jones is in no shape to even battle high cholesterol. You get what I'm saying?
And just to add to that, I feel that Alex Jones' platform has been disgusting and disturbing. A big mouth, fake activist basically absorbed all the energy from the real ones, from Immortal Technique, from William Cooper, all those people, from William Tarpley. He absorbed
Webster Tarpley, yeah.
He took from every truth teller who did not blow things out of proportion, said the facts exactly how it was. But because he was an entertainer, people cared more about what Alex Bloated Mouths had to say than people who were not entertainers. And this is what it comes back to. where people not being able to make a distinction from entertainment and actually real life journalists. And because people can't make those distinctions, they enjoy Fox News, or they enjoy Alex Jones, or they enjoy MSNBC, because they have to be entertained. They'll go to a Joe Rogan, they go to all these people that is only about entertainment. It's kind of like, if you could even say you're an opinionist, because for example, here on Thought Crimes, we have on our opinions, we commentators. To say we're journalists will be a disrespect to people who are out there on the field that are actually creating these articles that are exposing corrupt government. We have a culture of thievery. And if you really think about what Alex Jones does, before we even get into the music industry stuff, it's thievery. You're basically taking articles and stuff and not crediting journalists who actually did the work, so you can build up your ego, so then people could say, oh, Alex Jones was right. No, Alex Jones didn't go out there, be undercover to get the information. Okay, Alex Jones was not a CIA agent who left the CIA and told the truth about the corruption of the CIA. He wasn't a FBI agent who left the FBI agency and wrote articles and went to real journalists and collaborated with the information. He's not even an Assange. So when people are trying to big up the ego of an entertainer who's into politics, he's into politics, of course, he's into talking about these things. But when you big up an entertainer at the expense of the people who've done the groundwork, you're going to get the results that you have right now. Everybody in the United States being split from each other. People not being able to know what is real and what isn't real. All these different things have come to this conclusion because people have discredited, ignored the originals just to hop on the bandwagon of people who entertain them the most. We have to eventually look in the mirror and be like, wait a minute. Am I allowing myself to be gaslighted? Have I went to see the person who actually created the article? Did I take the time to actually look at the origin, the person who actually did the groundwork to give in this information? It's kind of like when we go to that journalist, the one who got fired from NBC, where he lied and said, I was getting shot in the chopper. There were actual journalists who actually really went through that and died, who was able to give us information of what happened in Libya and Afghanistan and stuff, who are actually dead. And yet you had him, Brian, who clout chasing.
Brian Williams.
And he got really popular more with the lie.
And I rolled out of the chopper, and and I remember rolling out on my side because I remember I was having gas that day because I actually drank some milk with my coffee that morning, so I specifically remember which day it was. And as I laid down in what they call is the cut or the trough, we began to unload on enemy fire. And there I took 2 of them to my vest. It was something incredible.
Right. What? And I mean, like, it was crazy. And this is not even me just getting on Dev. I can't single one person out because we would all lie if we wasn't a fool to at least one person. We've all fell for someone trying to act like they were the origin point of certain information or bringing us the truth or whatever. We've all been duped before. None of us have escaped that. So this is not coming from a judgmental standpoint. This is coming for a more thoughtful standpoint. Like, all of us, how many times have we ignored a person's hard work who wasn't about ego, that had humility and put their life on the line to give us important information, only to give the accolade to a person who sat their ass in a chair, profiting from that information and turning it into pure entertainment? We all have fallen for that. All of us have.
Yeah, so listen, this is what I'll say about, InfoWars. I actually paid attention to InfoWars for a long time, and I saw where the change happened immediately. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, it's okay. It's information that was out there. It was consumable. You know, I was familiar with Webster G. Tarpley a little bit before I even fell into the space concerning InfoWars, and I would listen to what the research team would do. I would listen to some of the talking points of Webster G. Tarpley, but then we see where everything changes when Alex Jones became a fan of Donald Trump. And in fact, his new staff began to antagonize people like Webster G. Tarpley because Webster G. Tarpley kept it consistent when it comes to geopolitics and local politics, and then what went on with the executive and the legislative and the judicial branch. These things were immaculately produced out there in the form of commentary and excellent books by Webster G. Tarpley. I don't always agree with him, but he usually is mostly consistent. And when I saw there was a cultural inconsistency concerning Alex Jones, I said, oh yeah, Alex is thinking we're going to the White House. Yeah. Hey mom, I'm going to Disneyland, like Shaquille O'Neal after winning the championship with the late great Kobe Bryant. So I saw exactly what happened. And it's not that hard to figure out. Folks, it happens. People get starstruck. People feel they come up. We all do it at some point. Some of you all get a raise. You walk in, you don't speak to nobody. I ain't talking to nobody. I'm not even having lunch with y'all. I'm going across the street.
But William Cooper warned us, though. He said he had an interview with this guy long ago, long before he became hot. He said he lied about something on his show when William Cooper came on the show, and he said to Alex Jones that didn't happen. You know, he said, this guy, I was on his show, then he's lying about my name. This guy is an egomaniac. And he warned everybody. He said, if you allow this guy to continue, he is going to distort everything. And that is what Alex Jones has done from the beginning. He will take something from, again, journalists, real people who've done all the work, and then when the information comes on his show, he was distorted, kind of like what he did even with the Trump situation. He goes wherever the power is. So at first he was anti-government, anti-this, anti-both the left and the right, kind of, again, copying off of William Cooper, only to switch lanes completely when Roger Stone came there, when Donald Trump was there. But to give credit to William Cooper, he called it in the 90s. He said, I'm warning y'all, Alex Jones has a bloated ego, and he
I thought you was about to say bloated face.
Well, that too.
Oh.
And he's a type of person that will lead people down the rabbit hole to destruction.
Yeah, it is a situation like that. And what you're talking about specifically, it was actually when Alex Jones interviewed William Cooper, because he did look up to William Cooper. You know, there were a lot of people that are old school in that space that, you know, they're dead. Because when you think about those traditional people that like to expose those types of documents and information, you think about the likes of the late, great Gary Webb and what happened to him, how he was double tapped. Even when we thought about what was going on with Patrick Till, you know, and what took place out there in Afghanistan, and, you know, how they, you know, when he did the autopsy, there was a lot of Daniel Pearlman. Like, you can go through the list of individuals historically that have really put themselves on the line. You know, and I'm not going to lie, when I used to listen back in there, I said, well, how come, well, what's not happening to Alex? Because I remember he was interviewing the DC man. I want you to tell the public right now, you're not suicidal, right? She says, no, I'm not suicidal. You're not going to kill yourself. No, I'm looking forward to this. These guys, what they do behind the scenes. And then the next day he called, damn it, that they found her hanging in the garage.
I'm glad you brought that
She's
up.
dead. She's dead. A lot of whistleblowers that came to Alex Jones ended up dead. But to go to your point, and I'll definitely give it back to you on this one, what Sin is highlighting is when Alex Jones was interviewing William Cooper, you can still find it on YouTube. They had a casual conversation. And what do you think about this? Well, I think about the United States government. It's about the federal overreach of the blah, blah, the far side, blah, blah, blah. Y'all know how that goes, right? And then it was over. It was just that.
And Alex Jones lied after Alex Jones said that William Cooper was
cursing him out. He said he was, and I didn't understand why he was acting that way. He was erratic. And then William Cooper, before he died, he did address it. He says, I was very respectful too. He says, you guys can listen to it yourselves. But remember, Alex Jones was in the space of the Barnum and Bailey alarmist conspiracy theorists, the fear, the panic. They did term it something interesting. I usually don't agree with mainstream media when they term something a lot of times. But they did classify a lot of his stuff as paranoia porn. And if you go find out, there's a broadcast that's still on the internet, right when, you know, everybody was switching over from 1999 to the year 2000. You remember the Y2K stuff, all that type of stuff. Everybody's talking about Y2K. Alex Jones went on this incredible rant. He did a live stream. He's talking about the Russians have just armed their nukes. It was, you would think the end of the world, it was Judgment Day at that time. And Cooper highlighted, he says, this guy here is going to be a problem in the future.
And let me tell you why it's problematic, because it prevents people from preparing at appropriate times. You know, this is why I believe that Alex Jones has been an agent from the very beginning. In 2001, I believe William Cooper was killed.
Yeah.
And Alex Jones, from there on, he kept building, especially the 9/11 stuff, kept building and building. Most true journalists or people who are for the people end up getting arrested, killed, when they're a big threat. Julian Assange, look at what's going on with him. Technically, he didn't commit any crime. The information was given to him, and yet they are trying to bring him back to the United States to face stuff that I believe he shouldn't be facing. I've never seen someone be as big-mouthed as Alex Jones and somehow live. That means this whole time you didn't know anything. And you know what this means, everybody, boys and girls? This means that Alex Jones played everybody. And now he's finally getting played, because you know what they do to assets that they no longer need anymore. This is what Hoover used to do.
Yeah, dump the asset.
Dump the asset.
Dump him at
it's kind of like the guy who portrayed Hampton.
Fred Hampton, yeah.
He ended up mysteriously dying when people was asking questions about, because they have to, and let me just tell you why, they have to tie up the loose end.
Yeah.
Right? So if that guy stays alive, and let's say he snitch and say, well, you know, the FBI, you know, they did all this other stuff, they did illegal stuff, they poisoned Hampton and all this other stuff, there'll be a problem. So going back to Alex Jones, they don't need him anymore.
Yeah, well, to be clear here too, by the way, Fred Hampton was not a real individual. He wasn't a real person. He was a manufactured hologram image, fashioned by the Bilderberg and the Trilateral Commission. And here on Thought Crimes, we're going to dive deep into why I took an L. Would you like to see the clip? Sid, would you like to see the clip?
Right, and then also just to add to that, man, this guy has been sucking up to a lot of racists. Oath Keepers, Proud Boys.
They're not racist.
Since 2000, he tried to pretend he was down with black people. Then around the end of 2008, around 2009, he started to side with white supremacists.
The blacks.
So, like, when it comes to Alex Jones, I really think he is getting the just due. Justice should have came around sooner. This guy, I don't trust anybody whose ego, is wrapped up in things that's supposed to be about humanity. And when I see that you have a big ego, that means you're gonna sell out humanity at some point.
Yeah,
if your ego is big, it's either you always was an agent or you're gonna sell out soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna cut to the clip of why I took an L, and we're gonna talk about the tyrannical occult priestess judge, as you can see sitting to my left, hyping all of this up. Also, you know what, you're right, Sid, because listen, some of the stuff is just genuinely funny.
Right. Alex
Jones is tragically funny. He's tragically funny because he's a very dangerous man. He's a very dangerous man. I remember when Mobb Deep, one half of Mobb Deep, the late great Prodigy, was over there, and it was interesting to hear Alex Jones read off Prodigy's credential. Hip-hop artist Prodigy, a part of the group Mobb Deep, is here to talk about the United States government and what he believes is happening. Good evening, Prodigy. How are you doing? He said, Mobb Deep. Immortal Technique is one half of the Spanish outlaw group.
Again,
all over the place, but clout chasing.
Clout chasing the whole time, or even when him and Candace Owens are supposed to be on the same side. And he just literally told T.I., I got information on Candace Owens. See, the dude is just...
I got information. You want the dirt on Candace Owens?
He was an agent the whole time. And then also, he even keeping tabs of his own homeboy, Joe Rogan. Who?
Got a lot of dirt on you, Joey.
If you're a truth teller and you're really for humanity and you have people who are supposed to be allies, who really keep tabs on people like that?
Agents.
Unless you're... Exactly. Local agents. double agents usually keep tabs like that. So going back to even everything that Solomon stated, I mean, at this point, it's just quite obvious. You know, he's for the destruction of the United States of America, and he's not bringing anybody together. He's out there with the Ku Klux Klan and stuff. I mean, I don't. At this point, I can't. And this is just me respectfully, because I'm trying to change my ways and not go too far off from people, and keep myself centered. But how much of a whore can you get when you have to go and side with white supremacists?
Well, okay, so I'm not going to say they're necessarily white supremacists. What we need to do is protect the genome of the men in this country, particularly white male. Now, don't get me wrong. When I think about the blacks, I think about the idea of them being created out of such a strong slave stock. You know, so it's a little bit different, Sincere. A little bit different. So I wouldn't say it's that I'm necessarily whoring out. It's I'm preserving our genome. And they don't want strong, heterosexual, Christian, white nationalist males out here.
Well, any last words, Solomon, on this Alex Jones bit? Did you want to show a clip or whatever before we go to artists stealing from artists?
Oh, yeah. We could go ahead and get into it. Well, actually, let me run this little clip. It's only just a minute because, you know,
go ahead.
It's just 1 minute, but it is interesting to see what's taking place here. Let me go ahead and run this clip real quick.
The very bottom below the very bottom left corner. Is that your phone number?
Yes.
Whose messages are those? Whose phone is this taken from?
I don't know whose phone's taken from.
Did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protect it in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
No,
Did you know this happened?
No, I didn't know this happened. But I mean, I told you I gave them the phone over.
But just
And
answer
you
the
said-
question.
You know what perjury is, right? I just want to make sure you know before we go any further. You know what it is.
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. I told you I gave in my testimony the phone to the lawyers before or whatever, and so you got my phone, but we didn't give it to you.
No, Mr. Jones. One more time. Please remember, if you need to assert the Fifth Amendment, you can. I need to know that you can do that. But you testified under oath previously that you personally searched your phone for the phrase Sandy Hook, and there were no messages. You said that under oath.
Yes.
And you lied when you said it.
No, I did not lie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. No, I did not lie.
And just it's to add to that. I mean, can you really believe in a liar? No humility. Mm-hmm. I just have humility and said, man, if you truly was just deranged, and let me just hear me out. This is why I have this guy is just all the way guilty. If you would have been like, man, the deep state has been doing so much, I just couldn't tell what was fiction and what was reality. And I'll pay whatever I need to pay to make amends to the families that I hurt by having them their addresses being doxxed, for them being harassed by my mindless followers, by me harming people who already had to deal with death in their family by losing children. I apologize, and I should have been protecting those children and what took place with them, instead of further harming and victimizing these children that are no longer there.
Yes,
I'll do whatever penance that I am supposed to do. I got lost in my ego and lost in my paranoia, but he said none of those things.
Oh, come on now. It's for show for him. Did y'all hear him up there trying to explain?
When you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy
Listen
Hook. Did
to
you know
him.
that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
No,
Did you know this happened?
No, I didn't know this happened. But I mean, I told you I gave them the phone over.
But just
And you
answer the
said-
question.
You know what perjury is, right? I just want to make sure you know before we go any further. You know what it is.
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. I told you I gave in my testimony the phone
So sad.
to the lawyers before or whatever, and so you got my phone, but we didn't give it to you.
No, Mr. Jones.
White Buffalo.
One more time.
is sitting before the public and being carved up. He has no way out. Will Alex KKK Jones make it out alive? Tune in next time on The Crimes.
Yes. No, I did not.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
All right.
We haven't fun.
All right. And can we just show one more thing too? Oops.
Go ahead.
Can we show one more thing too?
All right.
Joe Rogan and Alex Jones and all these people have been talking about the bell curve and how black people have the violent gene and all this stuff. Can you play that Lupita ancestry real quick? It's interesting. People talk about IQs and all this other stuff, but nobody goes on their show and actually bring up the fact that the Homo sapien species survived because of their intelligence, because it's again, dark-skinned people. We're the people of the world.
Which one are you talking about? You talking about that the guy that's shaped like the letter U?
Oh, yeah, the one that was talking
MAO
about
dream?
the MAO, whatever. Yeah. But can we show real quick Lupita? What was it's so amazing about Lupita genome?
Lupita.
Yeah, just put Lupita in ancestry so they can just see it real quick.
Right, we can break that in.
Yeah, and before we move on to the whole stuff with all these artists beefing with each other.
Yeah.
I just want to show just real quick.
All right.
What we should be talking about when it comes to the genome. Mm. We should be focusing on creating cures, focusing on coming together and actually creating progress in technology and science and agriculture and stuff. So, but people don't really care about that. They care about supporting white supremacists. Information that is not even factual. So let's listen to this real quick before we move on.
Lupita's results contained something I'd never seen before. When we examined her mitochondrial DNA, the genetic fingerprint passed down from mother to daughter across generations, we found that she carries DNA from the oldest maternal haplogroup, a very ancient branch of the mtDNA tree, just adjacent to what scientists call the mitochondrial Eve, the most recent woman from whom all living humans today descend. When mitochondrial Eve was walking around, there were no human beings alive outside of Africa. Everybody was black in the whole world.
Huh. I predate race.
You predate race. Yeah.
That's dope.
So very important before we even move on. This means even a lot of the stuff that you see from the Bible and stuff, a lot of that stuff has to change. Even if you're not a religious person, just how when we always doing movies about Enoch and other figures that also can be proven to be historical figures as well, guess what? They were black. Mm-hmm. And now you can look at how those people look. Beautiful, right? Because Lupita is a very beautiful woman. They didn't look like no cave beast. How they got some people looking like
you mean
that
like
come
Alex
from
Jones?
from the evening.
I mean,
So all these lies that people putting out there, people should be happy and proud that the oldest genome, one of the oldest genome looked that good. And we should be proud that Homo sapiens were intelligent enough to be able to survive all the environmental changes and all the horrific things that took place for us to still be here today complaining and being gaslighters like Alex Jones.
Yes, that is true. Now, look, I do feel that there's one part I do believe that the algorithm, and we talked about the algorithm in itself, like we need clicks. We need emotionalism. And one of the ways to keep clicks going is to piss people off or make them really happy. If you're kind of modulating in between where you're just simply educating people, giving them information, the algorithm a lot of times is not as favorable towards that, right? And that's just genuinely how a lot of these algorithms and microalgorithms are programmed. Lupita Nyong'o's ancestral DNA, and there were some other individuals that they had this situation come about as well, finding out that they have the mitochondrial Eve DNA. I think that's fascinating.
Beautiful.
That is ancient, old world magic right there. That's out there before Sumeria, folks. This is something else completely different. Of course, it's not tracked as hard. Of course, people made this debate about ridiculing or supporting Lupita Nyong'o a bigger issue than the idea of like what exactly is in her ancestral hood or under the ancestral hood. And that's one thing you'll come to find about with Africa, even as a continent, despite skin complexion, it has the most diverse DNA anywhere on this planet. And that is something that is largely understated because, you know, when we think about black, when we talk about black or black globally, it's usually along the lines of the alarmist, you know, anti-woke, Alex Jonesian, white supremacist, pro-black, black this, black that, just the angry emotional aspects of it. As far as sophisticated, educated information, you don't always get to see that fall to the forefront a lot of the time. So I did enjoy that bit of information, and I actually would love to see more of those stories promoted. But I usually try to find those things anyway, just in general, because, you know, it's just something interesting to think about how long, you know, humans have been, you know, not only surviving, thriving, and conquering their conditions too. There's also epigenetically, that's very strong DNA that your ancestors, the fact that you're in existence is a testament to the strength and the endurance of your ancestors.
Oh, you know, I agree. I think her DNA is fascinating. I think is important. I think it's powerful. Yes. This is one of the reasons why people trying to crap on the continent of Africa is crazy to me, because all these people trying to do biological warfare, colonialism, all the disgusting things that took place in the continent of Africa is crazy, because it shows the destructive side of the human species, where we don't realize if you got rid of every person in the continent of Africa, you literally will be destroying our human species' best way of survival genetically. And this is why I say this. Because the people of the continent of Africa have the most diverse DNA. And let's say all of us out of the continent of Africa perished. We as Homo sapiens can restart again. We can come back again. We can, you know what I'm saying? Because having diverse DNA means you have a higher factor of survival. If you was to destroy that, you literally would be destroying Homo sapiens. You will be destroying humanity. Because again, the people of the continent of Africa are the reason why we're all here. And if you try to retardate those genes or try to destroy those people, again, you actually will be compromising Homo sapiens or all of us as a species. But I shouldn't be surprised, because we literally have people who poison fresh water, even though it's the smallest percentage of the body of water that we have. You see companies and corporations and people not even care about fresh water, which we need, another thing we need to survive. So, you know, I'm not surprised that some of us don't care about that.
Well, yeah, because there's a culture of miseducation. Also, too, by the way, people get those likes up, you know, at this point in time. I would like to see the likes rise up a little bit more, all the way up. That keeps us in you all's algorithm. That way, when we go live, you people won't say, hey, man, I didn't know y'all was live. Damn, I'm late. So let's get them likes up, too, by the way. Listen, there's a culture of miseducation and misinformation. As much as we have the information age, there is a misinformation culture also. So naturally, there are people that do believe if I kind of dwarf it down to blonde hair and white skin, or if we just take everybody out and keep the lightest of the blacks or the darkest of the blacks, it is what it's going to be. Now, when you get into the space of black folks in general, what you're going to have is culturally in DNA, you're going to have a diversity of DNA. And as they state, even if you know in nature, even if you're talking about breeding dogs, cats, diversity in genome does indicate a stronger opportunity of survival too, by the way. So look, with the miseducation that goes online with no Lauryn Hill, there's a lot of goofy people out there. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. So getting back into this, artist on artist, I'm not going to come from a judgmental standpoint. I'm just going to be honest about what is happening and what needs to stop in this industry. If we're going to be honest as black Americans, talking about black art, black this, but people stealing from other people or being masters of other people's work. So let's just get into it. Who do you want to start with first, Solomon?
You know what? Let's start with the sister Cardi B. Yeah, not my sister, but I'm just saying in general. I just want to put that out there.
All right, let's get into it.
All right.
What's your thoughts?
So Cardi B came out, and her and Lady LaSure are having, a bit of a communication issue online. Now, Lady LaSure was talking about, how the music industry was ran and how artists can get appropriated. Same talking points we saw with Khalees. I'm just being honest. Like I stated before, everybody sung along and cried concerning Mace, and people told Khalees go sit down and eat a hot cake or go make some donuts, right? At the end of the day, I do feel these artists that put in work in a situation where we know historically, even going back, we saw it in the Miles Davis movie, even with Nina Simone, both of them had to pull out pistols on executives in the industry. Ain't that something? Miles Davis had to put down the trumpet and pick up the gun, and then Nina Simone was shooting at executives. So she says, hey, I need my money. That's my stuff. It's no different than these years later with Lady LaSure and what Khalees was talking about as well. So she made the statement. Cardi B decided to respond, and I will play a little bit of what she said. I'm not playing the whole thing. I will not sit through the whole thing, but I'm going to play a little bit of it. Just a very important part. Remember, this is very, 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 very key information because she went and did this. All right, so let's go.
To hit up my label. Or your lawyer reached out to my lawyer and she said, oh, well, my team has reached out. I thought yesterday you said that you reached out to me. Now you're lying and saying that your team reached out to me, which that's a lie. And second of all, if your team, like you claim, has reached out to me, then they're going to tell you that it's like, girl, this is a waste of time because it's not under her record label. It's on 2 platforms, and on those 2 platforms, the song is not even under my shit. It's under World Star Hip Hop. So World Star Hip Hop is collecting it, whatever the fuck there is to make with that 7.3 million fucking views. And on Spotify, it's not even under my shit.
All right, so that's as far as I'm going to play. I just want to, I want to play that little clip there because here's the thing about it. All right, and this is what we talk about a lot of times, not necessarily being aware, and a lot of times we're in a leapfroggy situation. Now, Cardi B stated, going back to Lady LaSure, saying, I don't know what you're talking about. None of it is under my name when she's talking about this cheap-ass Weave song, right? This was the Queen's Speech remake that everybody was doing the Queen's Speech challenge, right? So we're going to go ahead and go to Cardi B's official YouTube page.
Well, I also want to say
right
something
there.
on that before. Oh, go ahead. I said my bad. Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to put this out here real quick. Cardi B, official YouTube page. The video is up. The song is up. Cheap Ass Weave 6 years ago. Just want to put that out there before we begin because this is where we're going to say, starting off, we're already in the wrong. Okay? So, again, when Cardi B said it's not under my name, it's not under my platform, this is her defense. Is that I have nothing to do with it. But there we see right there. It's on the YouTube page, and this is what we were talking about concerning the smaller artists in the market and them retaining the rights to their property because Lady LaSure's point was that she also produced a beat, and she says she is in the middle of litigations right now concerning her music being on streaming platforms, this, that, and third. So we could go ahead briefly and cut into this.
When you take your music all down from streaming services, because let's say you own your music and you own your masters, that means that you can also go into World Star Hip Hop and also Cardi B. This is why music has been trash. And this is not to, to somehow just go on a bandwagon of being anti-Cardi B. We know she could be funny. She's a great performer, but she's not an original artist at all. She doesn't do original work at all. And I am tired of the disrespect of this supposedly pro-black movement with Diddy and all these people, where they say respect black art or do this, the Killer Mike stuff, but you don't respect black lives and you don't respect other black art. And this is the problem that we're having right now. You could have just took the video down and everything off of your YouTube channel. And what you also could have done is contact World Star Hip Hop, since you are the one who did the video, in collaboration with whoever, and sent it to World Star Hip Hop. Because yes, she is right, Cardi is right, that World Star Hip Hop was the one that collected the coin. So Lady does have a right to sue them too, or tell them to give them her some money or take it down. But she also has a right to go at Cardi B, because how World Star Hip Hop works, you have to send them the video. You have to send them these things for them to put it on their platform. So, and Cardi has, we've seen her and people on her team steal from smaller artists, left and right. Again, wrong is wrong and right is right. Just like when she won her case against Tasha K, there were some people who celebrated. I was indifferent. We on Thought Crimes, we were indifferent. We made fun of both sides and had a little bit of fun. But if she was in the right of that, she got what she got, right? In this particular case, Cardi B's in the wrong. You have a whole blood trail of artists that your team has stolen from, and again, I really say this is important. At one time, the sampling culture was fun. I get it. Early hip hop, James Brown. People were sampling James Brown stuff, George Clinton stuff. In the mid 70s, I understand the 80s. I understand the 90s. You had dope artists like Tupac. I get it. But the sampling culture needs to die once and for all now, because it's harming original content and original artists.
It's great for lawsuits, though. I'm just saying. I mean, if they want to keep, because this is stupid here.
That's true. If you own your shit, that is true.
Yeah, bro, it's great for lawsuits. Litigation, we gonna lawyer all the way up.
I saw the check, nigga.
All right, just lawyer up. I'm not gonna yak y'all back and forth with someone don't even know what videos are on their YouTube page.
Adios.
You get what I'm saying?
Can you screenshot that too?
Yeah.
That could be taken down.
You know me, I already screenshotted everything. But here we go. We heard Cardi B saying, again, I didn't want to get into, the whole Boondocks cosplay voice thing that she got going on. But what I'll say is that when she made the statement, the arrogance, the defiance, and this is the idea of, look, let me tell you something. A lot of these celebrities and, whoever, right, that they can do what they want to do. It's their world, it's their life. Good. I don't have to live in it in that space, right? Just show me the money. That's what we'll do. You keep the fame for yourself. But listen. You have situations where everybody says yes. Everybody says that's right, that's dope, that's fly. I watched a video clip of arguably one of the greater producers in hip-hop, Timbaland, make a trash instrumental in the studio with a bunch of Kylie Jenner girls around.
Oh, my God. Amen. My fans are Desperate Housewives.
Oh, my.
Thought Crimes fans are Desperate Housewives.
Bro, that beat was so horrible. I said, if you don't go get Metro Boomin or somebody that wake you up, because the beat sounded terrible. It sounded terrible, but here was the joke about it. Everybody in the studio told Timbaland it sounded great. I said, this was a great insight of how we get bad albums. Because you don't step outside of your space, you don't have anything. There's nobody that's not a yes man or a woman that's going to tell you that. So, same case that goes on with the likes of Cardi B. So, as she spoke, maybe in her head, maybe there's arrogance there. Maybe there's an idea like, I don't really monitor my pages like that. Whatever it was, there's this need for a knee-jerk defiance, I'm the victim energy. When honestly, to keep it real with you, you could just not say anything. If an artist is out here, they're saying they're bleeding, why would you go out there and challenge them, and then on top of them having to fight litigations or situations within the industry, now you have your stand base attacking that artist's profile publicly. So you're not helping the situation. And again, as we state before, or as I stated, is that, you see cheap ass weave is still up there. I mean, I'm sure it'll be sorted out some way, somehow. Even if it doesn't really stop or affect my day. But this is just our commentary on it. But I did find it funny that Cardi B went out there. I actually was, looking at some information with B More, and then I saw that the video was still up. I was like, well, I don't know what's going on here. It just seems silly. But this is one of the reasons why the aspect of the mixtape culture online became more professional, because you had the Digital Millennial Act that was able to flag instrumentals down with people when people decide to get on there and resell other people's hard work and things that they put together. And then you start to see in that slowdown where people start doing their own independent albums or doing their own mixtapes and saying, this is my original body of work. So around this time when this took place with Lady LaSure and Cardi B, it wasn't as aggressive as it is today. where independent artists still now they have more of a chance to fight back about these things legally, and also with the technology online. I know we talk about the bad side of a lot of the digital technology online, but there is a lot of positives that come along with it, that it does give artists a leverage to prove and show this is what took place, and if they want something struck down, they could have that opportunity and right as well. I just personally think in this situation, just, Cardi B sounded silly. The video is up. She said it was just only on World Star Hip Hop and that she doesn't make any money from it. Obviously, with the Cardi B Cheap Ass Weave song, it trafficked over 4.6 million views in its 6-year life online. That's money, folks. Her channel is monetized.
Yeah, and to add to that, no, I know the difference between sampling and theft and thievery. And sampling has become thievery because you have people who are not asking permission. I understand hip hop is built on sampling, but let's keep it honest. This is why hip hop, and this is going into rap and stuff, and this is going to be controversial, but this is my personal opinion. This is why it has become one of the most degradable music genres, period, at this point.
It's not even biodegradable.
And yeah, I agree, because you're not being original. You're not being original. It's different if an original artist say, hey man, you can sample my stuff. You can sample my voice. You can sample this. I like it. Damn, it's high. As I stated, y'all heard me state it 10 minutes ago. I understand early hip hop started off that way, but at the time, people were doing things that was unique. They were doing things that unique that people was like, they were still feeling the music. At this, people have exploited that part now. That has been exploited in the music industry now. All genres are doing it now, and they're doing it without even informing the original artist. And since we want to talk about sampling, James Brown eventually said, look, I understand y'all in hip hop are sampling my songs, but if y'all not going to pay,
y'all gonna have to pay me.
Y'all gonna have to pay me.
Y'all just stealing all my shit. What's wrong with y'all?
Exactly. Y'all gonna have to. Let's not act like you didn't have old school artists come after certain hip hop artists like, yo, you sampling my music and you're not paying me.
Yeah, you can't complain about that.
So overall, y'all just gonna have to admit it. This is the right course of actions, and believe it or not, it actually what start helping black artists even more, in my personal opinion, because the sampling culture has gone too far. And remember, when hip hop was more of a when rap music, excuse me, because hip hop is the culture. When rap music was more about artistry, let's keep it real. Some people gave it a pass because the music was fucking good. Okay, they sample a little bit of that, reimagine it, turn to something crazy good, something completely different, a completely different tempo, a completely different sound, dope lyrics.
Give you a great example.
There was a magic to it at first. Go ahead.
No, I want you to continue with your excellent commentary. I think one of the highlights we have, one of the videos up there is the sampling concerning with Mo Money, Mo Problems. I'm coming, dun 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 dun, right? Yeah. I mean, and we know. I will say this though, Sam. We got to talk about the Diddy culture.
Well, after I finish, we'll talk about that.
We had to talk about that. We got to bring that up.
We got to keep it honest, because it wasn't being exploited at the time. It was mostly hip hop, kids, culture, and rappers doing it, but they was doing it dope, and the art came before the business. Okay, but now we're business before the art. So now that we've reversed and it's about the business first, then give me my fucking money, and you can't just keep sampling shit and getting away with it. And then also they've moved beyond just sampling. They're still in whole tracks, whole choruses, whole this and that from other people. And again, if we want true innovation and invention, we're gonna have to end the sampling culture. We're gonna have to end that whole thing. Like, for example, even when we had a thumbnail, we could create our own thumbnails from scratch just by even just drawing them. One time we used an image of a woman who was like, can you take that thumbnail down?
She was a model. Because
I don't want my face, because I have nothing to do with this topic. And we just changed the thumbnail.
And she said, thank you. We didn't go off. We didn't get on there like Cardi B.
First of all, when we get on platforms, it ain't got nothing to do with it. Have your people talk to my people? No, if it was, and if you really
man, dog, just take some humble pie and move on. Who cares?
Right.
I don't care about holding up the train for this. Listen, all right, we're going to move around.
It's only happened a few times with us, and we immediately took it down.
Yeah, we didn't, yeah.
Because it's like, how I want to get upset because someone wants their stuff for them, because we
it's
know
protection.
Thought Crimes, we feel 100% about that with our stuff. We don't want nobody taking our stuff without our permission, without no contracts, whatever. We don't want anybody taking our stuff. So you have to be fair to the photographers who have all their images being sent everywhere, people using them without crediting the photographer. So that eventually going to be changing too, I perceive. But go ahead, you wanted to talk about Diddy and stuff.
Well, yeah, I wasn't going to jump in directly into the Diddy coach. I actually want to highlight something. One of the reasons why you had the ascension of trap music, outside the idea that the soldiers were in Afghanistan securing the poppy fields. That's another story. Cocaine rap came back when we was in Afghanistan. That's all I got to say. Listen. One of the reasons why, let's say, somebody of the ilk of Soulja Boy came about. Remember, Fruity Loops took off. One of the reasons why it took off because the record industry took a hit. The music industry took a hit with Napster and, LimeWire and illegal downloads, and then also still having to pay to clear all of these samples. So what happened, the ringtone came about. Then we saw where kids like Soulja Boy showed up, and the GS9 boys, not the GS9, the ones that did Stanky Leg and them franchise boys, when they were making their own original beats with no samples, right? It's actually something that was charged on the behalf of one of the greatest producing groups along the ilk of some of the other ones in hip-hop history. But you also saw if you watch the documentary concerning Organized Noise, they said we had to make everything from scratch because L.A. Reid wasn't going to clear any samples. So we had to just create our own music from scratch. So when it was concerning Outkast Records, that's what they said they had to do. Everything had to be from scratch. That's why they came up with the Dungeon Family and all this other stuff.
Can I just say, if Outkast could do it and you're a talented person, if you're gifted, I'm not talking about if you're not. If you're not, you're just doomed. But if you are talented or even gifted, if they can do it, you can too.
Yeah, so that's why when people was like, yo, where are we getting all of these banana beats from? Well, it's because people, they couldn't do the samples anymore. It was costing too much. Lawsuits were flying left and right. People were retro bringing up lawsuits like, hey, man, you sampled me in 96? So a lot of people was like, hey, listen, we'll take.
So what happened to Vanilla Ice?
Yeah,
and that wasn't sample. It was like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, so the thing is that you like the beat, and it's something that we saw what happened with Juice WRLD. We heard the story about Cisco, where his production team was like, hey, man, I think we need to get this sample cleared. And he said no. And 90+% of the royalties concerning Thong Song went to Ricky Martin.
Just because he had to add Living La Vida Loca. Come on, Cisco.
And he told me, nah, we don't need that right now, man. Just put it out, man. It's hot right now. Do not listen to these silly artists. They're emotional. Mm-hmm. They're not handling business. They're like, you know what, man? Let's go ahead and make sure we can call that in and see if we can change the samples now. Now, samples that are appropriately accommodated, we've seen it with the likes of the classic album, probably one of the greater albums of all time, Illmatic. We've seen, the sampling rate. We've seen sample artists sample producers such as Q-Tip. We've seen it with Jay Dilla. We've seen it with a lot.
Masterful.
Yeah, we've seen it with the production of Wyclef concerning the Fugees, the score, and what we saw, even what was going on with the Miseducation Project. We've seen what is taking place with brilliant art, right? Well, here's the thing that we have going on right now. We got something called the Adobe Sweet Culture, right? So a lot of people are taking an Adobe Photoshop. Yeah, they're taking that mentality and applying it to music where they're literally copying and pasting. For me personally, when I go online and I go to like sample.com or samplemusic.com and they will break down how many samples, some of the ways they're doing samples today is incredible to me, and I don't necessarily mean that in a good way all the time. Like if I listen to a song, I don't understand why there are 9 to 12 different sampled songs throughout the entire record. And you think about the idea of clearances, it's one of the reasons why with the digital technology known as the musical ear, I think it's called the digital ear, where it's literally an algorithm and it's all over the internet. And what it does, it picks up what is being sampled. This is why the technology, and I heard some guys online, some artists, complaining about it, like, bro, man, my stuff got flagged. This is original composition. No, it's not. Because it's not an original composition. Right. Now, where you felt you wanted to go with reinterpreting somebody else's work may be a unique approach, but it's still in reinterpretation. It's an interpretation of something that already existed. So when that digital ear comes through and flag your stuff, you can't be mad at it, because on the flip side, let's say you get rolling, it works in the reverse for you as well. And also, just to jump in real quick, Solomon, go ahead. Sampling reached its apex in the late 90s. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100. The cap off of that is the J Dilla and all that, because J Dilla is amazing. Love his work, although, like Solomon said, still sampling. But the creme of the top of that culture that did it the best. You don't think you don't think say,
I think my butt get big.
No. No. The best of it died in the late 90s. Maybe you could push it a little bit to the early 2000s. It's done. No one has. They don't even have a. If you don't even have imagination with a fucking sample anymore. No, we got to go back to square one. Got to go back to the first step. You think it's kind of it is. Well, I will say this. I think the way the samples are working right now, it is really a specific niche inbred TikTok style of sampling. Like when I first heard the flip of the Nelly joint, and they're sampling records. They're not even going back 20 and 30 years. Like I guess Diddy and all them guys were doing back then, and boys and girls were doing. Like they're literally going back last year, and then sampling a song that took place. And then when we talk about this reinterpretation, we have to think about staccato and rhythm and flow. This is one of the things, again, Soulja Boy flagged out when it came to Ariana Grande. He like, hey man, that sounds like my stuff. Too. And then it was confirmed it was. And she said, I'm sorry. No, we're going to court.
I saw the check, nigga.
No, even if you give me my money even before we go to court, I get the royals and all that, then we cool. If you don't, we go into court. And just to add to that point, we have to respect black art, not by pushing for criminals who allegedly was killing innocent black people, but by protecting black art really means that you won't be lazy with this culture more. I heard that even this white artist was sampling Robin S. Fucked up the whole song of Show Me Love. You know, Show Me Love is a great dance track. I usually sing, but I'm not going to sing and embarrass myself because she has a very strong vocals, very beautiful vocals, Robin S. And shout out, of course, to the people who even made the music, who was DJing and everything for that particular song. But you got, I can't describe the level of how mediocre it is. It's
a high level of disinterest.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the words to really go into nuances about how trash it is, but I can't even.
It's boring.
I can't even express.
Listen, it's boring. Like, when I heard the Nelly flip, I said, this is really boring. And even when I hear it in new interpretations of the works of Tory Lanez or some of Meg Thee Stallion's work, or even Fabio Foreign right now, he's trolling Mace with, What You Want From Me or whatever the joint was from Harlem World, and I heard him do it. And I'm going to be honest with you, some of Fabio Foreign's stuff sounds nice, but then there's a lot of it that just sounds lazy and boring to me.
I'm glad you said that. He actually sounds better on when things are more original than when it does. When he's sampling, see, and it doesn't challenge the artist, like Solomon saying. A lot of these artists sound lazy every time they take it from somebody else's stuff.
Because you can already coast. Like if I made a drill or post-drill album and I took a bunch of Nas cuts and chopped them up and threw in some Outkast cuts and chopped them up and threw in some Kendrick, and then also don't forget we got put in a little bit of Lauryn Hill. Like, let me put in 52 of the dopest artists in the game. Then I dropped the album. Y'all be like, damn man, yo, P going in. I should be able to go in. Really? I didn't channel some of the best energy already, so off riff I got a head start.
No, I agree. It's like you talk about Justin Timberlake. You talk about Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande. They all been trash. And then a lot of black artists try to compete by being trash too, to compete with some of these white artists that went this way. And I'm not talking about all white artists. Of course, you had, artists like Bobby Caldwell and who is really good, the Doobie Brothers. There's white artists who aren't trash, but the whole point is this crop of people that we have right now, like DJ Khaled. Like,
oh my goodness.
DJ Khaled really thought in his mind that he was better than Tyler the Creator. What the fuck are you smoking?
Well, we know it ain't box.
That's true, because he don't eat box. He made that very clear.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Because you look like you, I'm just saying that waist, like you ate a lot of things. I would think that's on the list. But listen, I love what you said, because some interpretations, and I mean, the only one I actually liked from Khaled as an interpretation was the Album Done song with Nas. That was it. But when I heard the flip of Maria, and it had Rihanna on there,
he got clearance for that one because Lauryn Hill and Nas are still really close friends, right? Even to this day.
Yeah, that is true.
Any Lauryn Hill stuff, he gets clearance for that.
But
really fast, right?
the whole Maria dun.
That was trash.
I felt that was a glorified karaoke song.
Right, they're doing. Thank you, because
karaoke.
We have karaoke music today.
Yes,
and this is not me being the old man.
That's why they lip syncing on TikTok.
Right, this is not me being the old man. Like, I don't think at this point in time the thievery is at an all-time high.
The rent is too high.
You even got to the point now where you have black artists stealing from other black artists. People don't have no more ideas. I'm making again, I'm not being judgmental. I'm slowing down. I'm making a point to everyone in the chat. I truly believe real innovation will happen in music once we end the sampling culture. And you want to know why? Because when you have a culture that's being bred to try to be other people and get hits by being other people and being hot by being other people, you're not going to go anywhere as a culture. And this is also why it's easy for people who are even outside of black culture to steal black music too. Sure, how are you going to protect black music when other black artists are stealing from other black people?
Listen, when I see people, they talk about the likes of DJ Khaled, and he was like, he's an actual producer. And I listened to, I just remember DJ Khaled when I was younger from the Brown Paper Bag joint. Brown Paper Bag. And I was like, oh, okay. He's got like 17 of the hottest, dustiest rappers on there. I was, everybody's out on the block. It is what it is. You hear it, right? But then when he started to go into this more polished, refined hip-hop direction, and it was just, okay, I'm going to take the Mo Money, Mo Problems beat that was already a reinterpretation, remixing, sampling of an original song, and I'm going to remix that remix, and then I'm going to just find the hottest artist, because that's what I feel. And a lot of times, if you think about divergence, that this is where people start to think like, wow, I didn't really flip it. Let me give you an example. Timberland. Hot Dog Nick Timberland. Like I said, I think he's a lot lackluster as it stands for hits and songs today. But I have been in his streams where I've seen him create original beats from scratch, and I think that's more entertaining than his actual music is today. But remember when Timberland got sued for the Big Pimpin' sample? And we heard the flute, because Timberland does this weird thing with flutes, right?
Someone from the Middle East or India sued him.
It was India. An Indian artist had sued him.
You don't take my work.
Yeah. When I heard the original, I said, oh my God, he flipped that like that. That was my favorite thing about digging into the crates with the sample. When I used to go up under the hood and see what Just Blaze and Kanye West or Jay Dilla or even Timberland, to some extent Pharrell at times, but when I used to see like what original song they flipped, it was wild. And when I heard the original Indian artist's work, I was like, and it was from a film actually, And I was
remember,
like,
Jay-Z got in trouble too because the song "Meet Me at the bar," you know.
Miss Fleet, he's smoking that la la la.
Yeah, they got in trouble for that one eventually too a couple of years ago.
oh, it was Egyptian. Thank you so much, Lady Love.
I
We
knew it was
appreciate
something. I knew
some-
it.
Damn,
Africa,
son, where'd you
Middle
find
East,
this?
Asia.
the Arab Spring. It
One
was
of-
somewhere,
one
right?
of the
Shouts out to
ethnic-
the people that listen over there too. We have
Right.
listeners there.
One of the ethnic continents.
Yeah, but I remember when I heard the original song. I'm not going to lie. I said, "Damn, Timbaland's a fucking genius." But I did felt the artists deserve to get their credit, get their rights and their royalties. Today now, when I do hear sample flips, there is no divergence there. It's literally like you took the song and put trap hi-hats on top of it.
Like, that's why I think Ed Sheeran is trash.
I don't
Trash.
listen to that individual.
paid
I don't even know
attention.
nothing about his music.
The reason why, I'm going to tell y'all a secret. The reason why some of these songs sound addicted to y'all like crack is because they're sampling from songs you actually like from the past.
Yes.
You're like, oh my God, I hate this artist. They can't rap. They could barely sing, but why? Why am I listening to this fucking song still?
Because you like the original work.
And because they stole it.
Yeah, that's why I said there's a lot of glorified beat makers right now. Brother, I mean, you're not that dope if you take I'm Sorry Miss Jackson and you put drill bass up under it and it has somebody sing on it because they got this thing now. That's why Mariah Carey said, "You'll see me in court." I don't remember which little group it was, but they were trying to be funny where they was just basically singing on top of Mariah Carey's instrumental. They put drill bass chords all on it with some trap hi-hats, and they were talking about smoking a op. And they at her like, "Yeah, what you think about this?" She said, "Let's see what my lawyer think about it."
Oh,
I
yeah.
said that was perfect.
That was perfect. Mariah.
Get them roaches out of here.
Get them cockroaches out of here. But also, just to go to your point, because I know Cryptomatic, I'm not talking about DJs. If you're playing and mixing music at a club and all this other stuff, you're at a club, you're at a house party. That's what it's supposed to be. That's why I said before, if everybody paid attention to what I said before, with hip-hop, the culture, it was art first and then business. Once you bring business into something, this is everything. The games and rules of engagement change. So of course, if you out there as a DJ and people come into the club, they come to the house party, whatever, you can still do your thing. If you want to sample stuff and do it and stuff for free and for fun, that's fine. But remember, for free, for fun, for free and for fun, free comes first, right? Once you start selling something, right, you're selling it as a part of your art. You're selling it. You can't do that. That's like taking an original painting and you copy it and then just say, I just remixed it a little bit. And this is Mona Lisa 2. You know?
Well, I mean,
people
that's the
people
thing
will
about
laugh
it.
at you.
And that's the thing about it. Like, look, I'm just being honest with you. I just feel even if you do sampling in a very like deeply creative fashion, you know, it's just a part of one of your brushstrokes. It's not the driving force of the palette. Today you have a lot of these people online. The driving force of the palette is, I want to sample 52 songs for a 2.5 minute song too. Remember now, they're not making songs any more than 3 minutes. So I don't mind. For me, I didn't mind when it was just it was a brush stroke in your masterpiece or your perceived masterpiece or your journey to the masterpiece. It was a brush stroke in your painting. That's not what we're getting right now. We're getting songs that are just simply copycat interpretations and people singing on top. It's happening in spaces even with R&B. This is why, you know, individuals such as what we see with the likes of Lizzo and SZA, they should be appreciated for what they're concocting, what they're bringing forth, the likes of Isaiah Rashad, you know, because these individuals and their team, their producers and their engineers are bringing in this set where they're saying, no, this is a brush stroke, or we're not going to do a sample for this our album. We're going to try to go with original content, original material. And I actually believe I would go original all the time because that's more of my money. I don't have to break it off anywhere else. It's more of my money into my account to feed my people. But me personally, when I do hear a lot of these 2.5 minute TikTok karaoke songs, it's just not interesting. And I think there's a disengagement there because to highlight the point that, you know, we were talking about a little bit earlier in the stream, one of the reasons why sampling, as Sin stated too as well, in the 90s specifically, the mid 90s on back to, we would say the mid 80s, right? The reason why it worked and it was good, and it was reinvigorating because what you had was called deep music listening. I talked to a few people. They said, well, I don't believe you can do deep music listening now. I actually disagree. I do it all the time when I delve into a project I'm interested in. I see other people. If you go to the audio files online, the people that are obsessed with music, obsessed with sound, this is what they do. Sin does deep music listening. B More does deep music listening. Everybody will sit and listen to the discography. I'll sit and listen to see where does the artist change in the process. Here's the thing about, and this is the education part of the sampling culture that gets underrated during that era that I'm speaking about, from the mid-'80s to the mid-'90s. What happened was this. Because they were deconstructing inner city, they wouldn't necessarily go on directly. But if somebody sat down and they had listened to a Nas record, or they listened to a Fuji record, even if they listened to an Onyx record with The Last Days, and they'll say, man, I really like the song, they'll read the production credits, and they'll see where the original sample come from. Then what would happen, they would diverge off and go listen to the original artist. And most of the time, even with my sister, my big sister when I was little, most of the people she became fans of musically from the 50s and the 60s, she was introduced to them through the sampling culture of hip-hop when it was done with integrity and these artists were credited. That's one of the reasons why it's very important to credit these artists when you do go ahead and sample their music. One of the reasons why, for instance, you can read about the story about when the people first heard Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff's Summertime, they were listening like, what is this sound I'm hearing? And they found out it was Summer Madness by Kool and the Gang. And then you had people say, oh, I went and listened to Kool and the Gang's discography. Or you had people, they were reintroduced, or they were introduced to jazz through like a backwards compatibility
but like
situation.
you said, they were paid, and we knew that Jazzy Jeff was one of the dopest DJs out there. And it was a magical video, you know, Will Smith lyrics at the time for that track was smooth and nice. It made everybody think about their, you know, the cookout. So it was a nice blend.
Yeah, and to put that out there, folks, that also, because the way hip hop was being done at the time, and even all the way up to, I would say, the beginning of the 2000s, because I think the last overhaul of that would have been Murder Inc. But what you saw with Murder Inc., Kanye West, let me say that, Murder Inc., Kanye West, and aspects of Just Blaze, people were able to go back and listen to these older musicians. They will go back and listen to jazz or soul, or they'll find it like, damn, I didn't know that was an Ike and Tina sample, and they'll go listen. Today, we're not trekking that far back because the process is not all that creative.
Well, and some people still need to be put in their place too, though, because when people was at one time was trying to say Kanye was a better producer than just as good as
Quincy Jones.
Yeah, you gotta be smoking rocks.
Yeah,
you gotta be smoking.
Yeah, man,
rock.
come on.
Quincy Jones produces everything from scratch. He's one of the greatest minds ever in music. Even when I don't care about his opinions. He had opinions on Elvis, whatever. He can have opinions about whoever he wants. We know he could be a slickster. He's in the industry, so I'm not surprised for any freak shit he's a part of either.
You can't be that old and live that long in that space and not be a hustler with savage in your blood.
Right, but when we comparing music to music,
we're not doing that.
He has done everything from scratch. The 3 classic albums from Michael Jackson produced by Quincy Jones. When you hear people like, oh yeah, Kanye's on the same level, no, because Kanye couldn't make most of his music without sampling.
Well, how would you say he's on the same level than the people that were making those comments that Kanye's this generation's Quincy Jones, when a lot of you all don't even like jazz?
Right, that's why
like, how does that even work? That's the thing that used to like get me confused. That's that you keep comparing him to Quincy Jones in a genre that you say yourself, I don't like jazz.
Right, and then the Elvis thing bothers me too, because he was doing cover songs of other artists. That's how he got hot at first.
Yeah,
and even I saw some white people trying to say, oh, Elvis was better than Quincy Jones. He too is not better than Quincy Jones. Okay, yeah. Quincy Jones creates shit from scratch, or I shouldn't say shit. He creates beautiful music from scratch. It's like the same thing with Prince. Most of these artists are not on Prince level, not even close. He does things from scratch, and this is why I say Napster has been one of the most horrendous things to ever happen to the music industry for black people, and let me tell you why. Yes, white people are getting screwed. Look at Taylor Swift. So I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm actually all of these too. But out of all the slaves, we know they give more of the porridge to these pop boppers that are out right now. Unfortunately. But again, Taylor Swift, I'll be fair to her. She does write all her own music, so what's happening to her is messed up. But it happens at a larger frequency to black artists. And when the black artist is under these messed up contracts, they even get less of the porridge than these white artists that are in these messed up contracts as well.
You want to say, and again, I'll bring this up. You mean like Khalees's career?
Like Khalees, what happened with even with Spotify, where black music, Spotify went even further into the slave deal that hurts black artists even more. Right. They're not getting any money. So
no, they're not.
So it's like just to see like Pharrell and them, like Pharrell, you don't even need Khalees' catalog. You know, you've already produced for so many different people. For you to do that, it sounds like a vendetta against someone who signed to you when they were 16.
Well,
and I think he was young too, but you get my point.
What is it for real? What is he? I know he's 500. What is that? That shapeshifter. Yeah, but anyway, listen. I mean, it's happened. You know, you had, for instance, when Big Mama Thornton did Ball and Chain, and then you had Janis Joplin come behind there and do her rendition, and that became like a celebratory chapter in Janis Joplin's career. Or even something goofy like when Bob Marley did I Shot the Sheriff in 1973 or 74, right? And then here comes boring Eric Clapton, but his version gets inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's
like it's silly stuff like that. So that's like, for me personally, I think a lot of, you know, the things that goes on with music, the music industry, because as a kid I used to be obsessed with studying certain things like people's contracts, like how did Michael acquire this or this, that, and that. I think there's a lot of atrocious acts that happen in the music industry concerning artists and their rights, and the idea that, you know, because an artist is popular, that another artist that may not be as popular or their career may be on the downshift, that they should take brownie points. Because that's essentially what the culture told Khalees. Shut up, sit down, and take these brownie points. And that's very important, because for me personally, I always talk about the culture's gospel versus the culture's procedure, how they move. On one hand, like Sin said earlier, it's, you know, the Black Man Can with Pharrell and Jay-Z, Black Excellence. It's about, yes, we got to support our sisters. Let's clap for Normani. Let's make sure she get to the hill, the top of the mountain. Well, when you get in situations where you have these Khalees situations come out and people speak up, and even to another degree with Mace, where Mace was told to shut up, right? A lot of times it has to do with, even with many of the fans going on active campaigns too. This is why usually a lot of these corporations will weaponize an audience to be demonstrative to that said artist that's stating their claim publicly. That's why I always said I will see
I saw the check, nigga.
Go to court. I don't even, let's forget all the social media stuff. We can go to court.
And all this simple stuff is even why people don't understand that Rosetta Tharpe is the one who actually created rock and roll music, not Elvis. And then from the branch of her, you get a lot of artists like the Man in Black. You get you even get what's his name, Chuck Berry. Yeah, you get Chuck Berry, Little Richard. You get all those people that come from her branch, and you know, a lot of people try to overlook that because she came out way before Elvis and she was already doing rock and roll.
You know, it's another one that was gangster too. Okay. Love a lot of Little Richie stuff. I was about to say Lionel Richie. That's my mother. She loves Lionel Richie. But anyway, listen, Little Richie's work, you know, I mean, the boy was on fire. He got some of the most, like, exciting. But Little Richard, you know he did that song Tutti Frutti, right? Here come Pat Boone's dry-ass voice. Tutti Frutti. Oh, yeah.
Tutti Frutti.
Tutti Frutti. Oh, mama. Segregation. Yeah. Jim Crow. Went down. You know, so it was that type of energy. So when I was just pointing out, like, I listen, see now we always joke all the time. I am under no energy. I am not interested in Eric Clapton's music. I tried. I can see that he writes well in his own right with his own material. But when that man sings sound like a dusty, rusted up 74 Mustang.
Yeah, and I also want to say this because I'm actually about to, take a break and actually I'm going to have B More talk about some of these subjects too and plug in her YouTube channel. But I'm going to say this. Until black artists stop lying and being two-faced, since black people are the ones who created modern music and in the United States and across the world, the stuff that we listen to, all the prominent mainstream genres. Until black artists stop cannibalizing other black artists and come together, all artists are still going to be under the oppression of corporations and big think tanks that are selling McDonald's music to imprison the minds of our youth, to push out things that stagnate us as a culture, like rappers that are getting flipped by billionaires talking about I kill niggas like Nazis. We're going to keep getting this filth until black artists stop being hypocrites and actually come together to get their music rights back. And then you'll see a ripple effect for other artists who are under this prism to get free. Until people stop lying and doing what they're doing, you will majority have this prison situation continue where corporations own their music and where other people just steal it online because it's not being protected. Even though you have situation where people steal movies and stuff, because movies are still held to a high regard, and if you get caught, you can get in serious trouble with the legal system. You gotta like chill. But music, you could blatantly show that you're stealing music and nothing happens. Like you could like be like, yo, I'm listening. You be online like I'm listening to the music without buying it right now, and nobody gonna care. And then now you got the streaming services, so you could definitely get away with that. Whereas
they can pump everything up.
If you can't, like, look at YouTube for example. You can't just put on a movie that didn't partner up with YouTube and you just upload it on YouTube. Your whole channel will be deleted. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You put up a song though, you'll get a warning.
Well, another thing about it too, like some of these interpretations have just been horrible. Mm-hmm. Like I remember, what's that artist Tricky? Remember he did the horrible dance version of Billie Holiday's "Strange Fruit"? Under no circumstances does "Strange Fruit" need to be turned into an ecstasy pill popping song for the club.
Strange fruit,
blood
strange
on the
fruit.
trees.
Yo, man, put the ecstasy in
blood on the trees.
Back that ass up on the tree.
Hanging black people.
I said, what? I remember when I heard that.
It's horrible. The whole essence of the song. This song is about lynching and black people being killed. Like just black death by the state, the system.
People's like, yeah, we'll swing from that tree. Blood on the leaves.
Or even when we got Lil Wayne where he be like,
oh yeah, beat it up like, oh yeah.
Yeah, we beat it up like beat the pussy up like Emmett Till.
Come
on. So disgusting. But you know what? You're gonna get lazy lyrics because you got people just sampling music anyway. So lazy lyrics, all this other stuff, people being disrespectful to their own culture. It's crazy.
Horrible.
It's crazy stuff that's happening.
Yeah, because some of I'm telling you, some of these reinterpretations, do not let these lying, lazy ass people behind these switchboards get on y'all and say, oh, it's just. I remember when I heard that "Blood on the Leaves" and they made into a pop dance song. I says, why is this the case? You could have sampled any other Billie Holiday record. You went right to this emotional one right here. So you see that, and you saw it with Nina Simone concerning the Simone estate. There were other house Mobius type DJs and artists that came out, and they sifted through Nina Simone's catalog.
Right.
Like, what was it? Black Like Me and all that type of stuff. Yeah.
I just want to say this real quick because B-More's about to tear it up here because she got a lot to say about the Khalees and Beyonce and all that stuff.
Come on, B-More. I've been waiting.
But I got to just say this part. And I'm not a hater because I actually like Pharrell's music. But when the Marvin Gaye estate sued Robin Thicke and Pharrell, I saw them cry, I was like, justice.
I was laughing so.
Fucking justice. You had this.
You know how long they've been robbing the Marvin Gaye estate?
You had Robin Thicke create a rape song. And by using the smooth melody,
sexual energy
of seducing energy of Marvin Gaye for that crackhead song, crackhead sexual assault song.
I'm talking blurred lines.
And then that be his biggest hit. When all the money got taken away and all the clout got taken away by the Marvin Gaye's family,
You saw
I
that?
said, there is a God.
Did you see that when they took his money? You know what he said?
Cracker ass,
Right,
cracker.
when they took the money and they took the clout, I was like, I am so happy.
Talking broke bang.
Because that was such a fucking disrespect.
I
That-
know you got it.
That cheap ass version
You know I want
of
it.
of a dope ass
Give me
track
my
from Marvin
money.
Gaye. Man, I was so happy.
I'm talking broke bang. Give me my money. Oh. Nona Gay got up there and she gave a riveting performance with those tears. We need to give her the Cicely Tyson Award. She got up there and cried. She had them dark shades on like she had been abused. I said, sell that shit, Nona Gay. Sell it. Don't you ever bring your ass back over here, Robin Thicke. Stealing from the poor and giving to the self. What's wrong with you with that ugly haircut? I'm glad that's over with. Boy, wasn't he a watered down, hyper gingerfied Marvin Gaye? Ooh. Oh. You remember that? B More. What's up, baby? How you doing, love? I'm so, listen to you, baby. B More was out there doing push-ups. He was ready. Let's go, man. Yeah, but you know, what you think about all of this? The sampling culture, people out here. Can we talk about, because you and I, we've been talking about this for some days now. Can we talk about the culture just trying to be bullyish with Khalees? Let's talk about that,
I don't like that. Team Khalees.
come on,
I don't like that because it's all black artists getting ran through, and then it's like Khalees F dummy. We don't care about her. I don't like that. You know, just say you got your picks and don't say nothing. If you got a bias, you just be quiet. You know, I don't like that it's kumbaya until your fave come in the room.
You saw what they was telling her? They said, and are you happy now? You no longer get a participation grade.
I don't want to. And then they was like, if it was me, and Khalees was like, that's why you and I me.
I love
like,
this.
She don't have to be happy for nothing. She obviously left the music industry. Don't talk about me. Don't breathe about me. I left. If I left, I left.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like all this black. I understand her point. Like, we can't be saying, like, you know, black womanhood or talking about artists getting ran through and artists deserve respect. But if she's saying, like, this person stole from me and I was also a minor. So y'all brought up when TLC, when their Lifetime movie thing came out and how they got taken advantage of and they was kids when they signed the contract, and how that contextualized why they were stolen from, and they was at the height of their career poor.
Yeah.
So it's like, if that's a part of the the context of what happened to them and why is a tragedy, why they were able to be on top of their career but they're broke, why all of a sudden for Khalees is dust, smoke, you know? So I really don't like that though. I don't like that at all. It's given, like, you know, people can be their special passes for blackness.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I'm glad that you said it. Now, also, I wonder if that has anything to do with the likes of, you know, Khalees did do. She did a round of what you could largely call like an alternative R&B, and you know, because I remember I made the statement on TCZ too. By the way, y'all subscribe to TCZ and get over there and support, because you know, a lot of times you'll be over there going live pretty much most of the time every night, at least get one stream in. But listen, when Khalees came out and made a statement, and somebody said that concerning what her statement was in regards to Rihanna. Now, when Khalees made the statement, I actually knew what she meant. We know damn well that Khalees and Rihanna do not sing alike.
No, they don't.
But and I can't remember, I think it was my man Kid at Heart. He said luxury, edgy rock style.
Yeah.
Around that time where her hair was black and when she had the grill in her mouth.
Yep.
And I said, I remember that era of Khalees because she re-emerged with a new look, and this is when she had Nas. You know, y'all remember he had the daddy gut. He looked like he was eating good. I said, damn, she looked like she cooking for his ass. You know, because they had that blindfold track. Wasn't my favorite track, you know, but, you know, y'all keep your thing, you know, over there. But when she came out at that time, I did see a lot of people, and they do this a lot in the industry. They pick off of the essence of an artist, but act like, that's not the case. All my stuff is original. But I think also this speaks to, you can speak to this as well, B More. I think this thing about ego, where our ego placements can be when you refuse, and I'm gonna be honest with you, black folk. I notice it a lot heavy deep in our culture, because when we talk about white people, we like cultural appropriation, we talk about gentrification. You're stealing for colonizer. But when in our space, like, I will literally hear people take something that another black person does and say this is my own style and never credit that other black person. And I think, like, I noticed that's a real big thing online too, by the way. You know, it like we said, it was one of the reasons why we was roasting David Bannon in the minute. We're not going to do this. We're not going to. There's nothing you've produced. Even if you was, we're not going to do this. And I've seen that a lot. You know, even concerning the music industry. Like, we've seen where Khalees was. And then you remember specifically be more about everything that happened after that as well.
I loved Khalees. I was a little Khalees baby growing up. I don't want to hear nothing. No Khalees slander.
Okay,
there's a couple people where it's like no slander because they don't do nothing. It shouldn't even be a thing.
You talk against black folks.
It shouldn't even be a thing. Because really, the B-side to Cardi B is Sweetie, and Sweetie don't say nothing.
Right.
She know what her place. She like, look, I'm here to get this deals. Leave me alone.
And buy hot Cheetos.
The most you seen her do was fight that boy in the elevator for that game system.
And you know what?
Because she said that they was both alleged that it was both theirs.
I can't believe this was even the case.
Small claims court.
I know. I said, bro, y'all fighting over a PlayStation? Like, let it go.
It is funny. But no, to answer your question about people's ego placements, what it gives is vulnerable narcissism. So, like, I do think black people, obviously, through what we have experienced through the culture of blackness and the culture of racism and everything else,
true.
I think that black people have a cool way of having that whole vulnerable narcissism, and so they think that because we have suffered or we have, you know, gone through certain things that are inappropriate, that we can center ourselves in things that we really shouldn't. And so, like, it's easy to become antagonistic. You're not being conscientious, like you're not hardworking, or being a person who is trustworthy, or being able to be steadfast in your work, or just being mindful of what you're doing, how you're doing it. You're not open-minded. I really don't. It doesn't really bother me if people are extroverted or not, but being antagonistic and being highly neurotic, and so, like, what you see is people want to be participating and stuff like that. I see black people do stuff like that. It's not cool. You know, I get that, you know, being black is hard, but why are we making it harder for each other? Yeah,
you know, that's a great point, because some of the things that, you know, the accusations that fly around, and you know, and also I felt that was disingenuous to the culture. This is why a lot of times I always tell them I do not believe in their Santa Claus, because or their Santa cause, because if the whole thing is about black artists, you know, get your reparations, you own your masters, you can't be a master until you own your master, black boy joy or black boy toy, black girl magic, whatever people are hashtagging it up these days. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in it. Because when I see it's carried out in action, a lot of times it's facilitated in a hypocritical manner. I'm not saying in some instances it hasn't worked. We've seen it with the likes of Anita Baker. You know, people was championed for that and it worked. But I do notice with more contemporary now artists,
it's not there.
It's just not there yet. We got to wait till people die or they get old and they bent over and we see them roll out on a wheelchair. Oh my God, what happened? And then people feel like I can have empathy for them now because my vanity and narcissism is not at the center of whether I like this person or not, or do they deserve to have their own material or not.
Well, there's no competition, and that's where the antagonism comes from.
Right.
The antagonism, or seeing people as there's a threat when there is none, and that's what also the neuroticism is. So, like, you got to be halfway dead for me to allow you to breathe and have respect. And I think this is inappropriate.
Yeah,
it really is.
Because you think about it, right? Remember we was talking about this where, like, Khalees, you know, like Sin brought up as well earlier, but we, you know, BMO, we talked about this all the time. Like, Khalees, like, she pretty much had a recess from the industry. She did her food show. I think the last albums, you know, I listened to was the Flesh Tone and the Food album. I thought they were pretty good albums. But she was doing her own thing concerning, you know, building up another empire, right? She was part of the homestead culture as well, right? And then when you get into a situation where you have, like, she's a recently widowed woman, right? And then, so that means there's grief being dealt with. And this is what was interesting. Even when we was like looking at all of the T bloggers, like that was not a context to the situation.
Yep.
And I told you before, I said, I'm not given the current state of what Khalees has went through, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not necessarily, I'm kind of shocked like she just didn't pop off even further, because even before the interview or before she got on Instagram, we never heard Khalees sounding crazy online. I wouldn't necessarily she sound crazy, just sounding loud, angry about something. And this is in context of what someone goes through. So this is where I say where our convenience and our vanity comes in when we choose to sympathize or empathize with an artist versus when we choose to tell them shut the fuck up and have a graham cracker. And I felt as a culture, what they told Khalees is you should shut the fuck up because you're not knocking right now. Your shit ain't slapping or hitting right now. And that was the case, So I keep that into consideration with those types of things. But that's what I personally feel about it.
You said it perfectly. I couldn't agree more. And also, like when I look at this also has like a spiritual standpoint, whether people believe it or not. But actually reminds me of like some Ape of Thoth type ish. It really do. I really don't like all this copying things or not citing sources or, not trying to be respectful of where stuff came from or things like that. So it does remind me of some Ape of Thoth mess. And if anybody knows, like Thoth is like the god of like the mind in Egyptian folklore and mythology. And he has a companion who is an ape. And at times when he's in the underworld with his wife Ma'at, he inhabits the form of a monkey or an ape to be specific. But where we're getting it with him and his energy converging with Ma'at, they rule writing. And so the ape has the ability to mimic at some point. And so during this process, when he's in the underworld with Ma'at, he weighs people's, with the help of his wife, they're together, but they weigh people's heart in comparison to Ma'at's feather. And so the heart in the Egyptian I don't want to say cuneiform, but hieroglyphics is pronounced as Ib, which is IB, which translates as to soul. And so because Thoth is an emanation of Ptah, and Ptah is the god of creation. They both are gods of creation, but the creation for Ptah is through the lips and the tongue and of sincerity, of merging the soul and merging the heart together. So the soul, heart, intellect and emotion in one point. I know we do like the mind is here and the heart is here. No, sincerity is a conversion of those things.
Right.
And so what you have is a entity of mimicking people's souls. And so you're able to snatch and try to steal people's birthrights or try to steal people's divine creation. It's inappropriate. Everybody is on their own spiritual elevation and their spiritual journey, and they're here to contribute to society and community in how they know how. And so if how they know how is this, and then you come there to take it, it's inappropriate. Plus, what are you supposed to contribute to society and the spiritual evolution of whatever's happening? So Khalees had create something. She used creativity, which is a divine gift from whatever you believe, the universe, God, or whatever. So she had this, she tapped into divine creation, she produced it. Now they're talking about that there's people around her usurping what is her birthright. So as a reward for her being able to write all of these things, she should be able to cash in on what is a gift for her, not let us all jump in here, take stuff that don't belong to her, and in the same breath want to scream, what about black people? Khalees is black, and just because she has this alternative thing going on, which actually, now that I think about it, Khalees kind of remind me of like a edgy Mona from Half and Half. And I've been saying this.
Yes.
Because Mona like one of my favorite characters. Like I can watch this sitcom over and over. But
you actually do.
I do. But no, it's really inappropriate. And so like I actually encourage people going away from this. If you're doing something where you're siphoning people's creativity or things that they offer into society in an inappropriate way without giving them credit or recompense for what they've contributed. So in the last stream when we talked about Black Panther, Inspiration is seen as a divine thing. People wielding their influence is divine. People being able to inspire you is divine, because for that moment in time, they're able to make you feel more alive and make you be more present. So in competition, somebody had pushed you to your final form where you want to push as hard as you can to be the best that you can be.
Yeah.
It's inspiration. And so if someone's inspired you to be the best you can be, or even to try to live more. So if I try to live more, maybe I try to live more by putting on this wig that you had on, or try to express and live more, basically sensing and relating to the world around you. That should be respected. And we should not be trying to siphon people's birthright. Plus, what is for you? We never get what you came here to do. What is your thing?
No,
it's inappropriate, and it's giving demon time. Like, I don't like none of
that's
it.
what they said. They talk about demon time, man. We're going to get on divine time.
Divine time.
Let's talk about that shit. I'm talking about demons and horns. It's too musty in here.
Divine time.
Open up the window or something. That's just too much. Great point, B. More. Also, folks, this type of talk, how she breaks it down eloquently in her fashion that she does beautifully, please get over to the Dummies Cauldron Patreon. She also does readings and breakdowns. She understands your chart. She goes through and look at what works for you in life and what may not work for you. Because sometimes, you can be dusty and you're like, bro, so I'm not supposed to be in this city?
Yeah.
Yeah, she breaks all of that down, as you can see. She's on the screen right there, the Dummies Cauldron on Patreon. And I actually want to delve deeper into that, what you're stating, because I personally felt I saw that's what the likes of what Drake was doing, and then we see what was taking place with the like of Diddy, and I was actually feeling like, look, Negro conspiracy theorist here, okay? I'm a black man, so I'm suspicious about everything, okay? I felt this level of clout giving with the uncharted chapters of between the Joneses and the Carters, but now it's Beyonce, Jay-Z, and I guess Nas sometimes, and then Khalees. Something is going on with that energy, because it's been popping off in that space for a minute. But I actually felt like if I know that what I do is going to trigger someone and they're triggered, right?
Yeah.
It gives me more energy and clout, because even Khalees's energy of being angry about it still adds to the promotion of the record. It still adds to the energy, because when we think about like when albums are dropping, this is the first time we can really see about the idea of like harnessing energy or soul harnessing of that nature, because people are speaking from their soul about something. Khalees was speaking from the soul, and Lady Luck brought up a point too while you were speaking, B. More, where she said, yes, Prince, that makes it even more predatory. She's grieving with the concept of loss of husband, loss of music rights, loss of artistic integrity by the hands of other individuals. Not that she doesn't have it herself, but her creative prowess had been siphoned from her. So there's this thing of grief centered around Khalees's energy right now, even though she's still giving us that, that hot pepper tongue energy with her mouth saying this is what it is. But there's a lot of grief of loss there. And I think about the hundreds of thousands of artists that have been sacrificed in that process as the corporations build one premier artist, because they were talking about Chloe, SZA, Normani being set aside so Beyonce can have the rest of the year, basically. And somebody brought the point that SZA might as well get ready for the summer of 2023, because Beyonce just talked about tours, and she got Act 2, 3, and intermission, and I said this was the same thing that happened with Drake when they sit everybody down and even made harness from that space to feed to this behemoth to contribute to this corporate empire online. But there is a thing of harnessing people's essence. It's kind of the reasons why black people a lot of times are the grand batteries they are online, because if you trigger them, they're going to give you the strongest charge, concerning it, and they do it consistently. But yeah, speaking to what you were saying, do you feel somebody like Beyonce, do you feel like she's kind of running out of a space right now with that, or the corporation that pushes this agenda, behind Beyonce, using her as a corporate elephant? And just even the idea of like, okay, the sample's removed, like, so then it makes you kind of wonder, like, well, how authentic in its creation is the music that you get what I'm saying? It's like, well, then let me tear the painting down. Then it's not that special. We just it's an app. It's a Samsung update. You get what I'm saying? And it's digital. It's like we just updated the firmware on the iPhone.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is a problem. Let me update it. Now you do it digitally. You just change it around. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, well, how special are we viewing the music in that regard?
Okay, I'm gonna say something real quick before I get to that.
Okay.
For everybody who keep asking about my YouTube channel, it's actually going to be up on the 7th or the 8th, and it will have the forecast on that, and it'll be for your rising signs. So if you don't know your rising signs, and it'll be in Western, so get that together so that way when you click on the video, you'll have everything you need to listen to what's going to happen. So that's for anybody that is asking about that. So the YouTube channel will be up actually in a couple of days. Okay. If you want, you can follow Patreon. I'll put the links and stuff at the bottom or wherever. But yeah. Now back to people just taking pieces out and put it back in.
Yeah, this digital Lego shit.
Okay, so
I mean she talking about it's updated. I said what?
It does sound like a Microsoft update, or like the updates you get on your phone where they be like updating software.
Even when you tell them no, they cut the phone off and update
it anyway. I'm like, that's rude. I didn't ask for that. Okay, so what I think about this, and maybe it's because I've had the luxury to actually practice an instrument for years at a time, for about like 7 to 8 years. I actually stopped playing it after I got out of school. I actually kind of miss it and want to get back into that and like reading music. But there is a difference in how people who go the traditional route, like if you sit down, you learn an instrument, you're able to read the music, you're able to, advance from like third chair to first chair, or how many chairs y'all have in y'all ensemble. Yeah, it is a difference. What I feel like now with music, and again, I remember somebody brought it up about the whole cutting music programs, but the downside of not having that structure of education, it's kind of like if somebody is making an audio book or writing, or doing like trying to make literature, but they don't know how to read or structure anything about the English language. That's kind of like, I guess that's the best way that I can tell you. Like if I write, I don't know, hot cross buns, and I hand it around and I'm able to decipher it, everyone can do it. But because of that, we can't. Now, the upside, if you look at it from a spiritual standpoint, writing is an example of printing and mimicking. So yes, more than one people can mimic. However, there's a level of intimacy that you get from being able to write music. One of the techniques that I used to do when I had to remember a sheet of music for a performance, I literally used to go up to the board, because sometimes we have free period in one of my calculus classes in high school. So I would walk up to the board and I would start to write out the sheet music. I would put the lines up there and write it out note for note for note for note. One, to have intimacy with the music, and also to remember what I'm reading, and also to like understand what I'm reading. So it's like when you go to English class and you write out a sentence and they ask you, what is a past participle? What is the noun? Can you write down like a simile or blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah. So there's no more of that intimacy that you can get from writing a music, layering the music. What is the melody? What is the counter melody? Where the bass? There's none of that. What they're doing is this thing where they're weaving multiple songs, lapping them over and over and over on top of each other. Like, it's a weird weaving. Like, don't get me wrong, music, if you writing for an ensemble, it is weaving, but it's so much different now. And there's an intimacy that you actually do miss. Like, if you see that part where Diane Warren is sitting and playing that piano, and she has a piece of sheet music on there,
Right.
it's a different setup. It's a different setup. Like even when you practice music, if you ever practice an instrument, you still actually need a writing utensil, because you sometimes have to write notes about the literature that you're reading, because sheet music is literature. Like, people don't understand that. So like, imagine you could speak English and you can't read. Like, that's what's happening. And then like, imagine having to make a product from that without you being able to read.
Yeah, it's
You
kind of
see
that.
you see what's happening in music theory. Like, think about that in music theory. Like, imagine that with like reading and with literature. It's weird.
No, I agree with you on that one, because I don't know. I think to the point of what you're stating, I was talking about this the other night. I said, there is an intimacy because you and I we talk about like deep music listening, right, as well as sin, and there are times where like I would you talked about it yourself, like we'll listen to like the catalogs of one artist.
I love deep music listening,
and that is a form of it, but I was telling them one time there was an album I saw. I used to see it all the time online, and then I remember I went into some store and they was actually selling the CDs. Right, they were still selling them. But I picked up the CD cover. I was like, damn, I did not know the album artwork looked like this. Like even that idea of like the activating all of the senses of feeling and touching and seeing what it is, and I do believe to some degree who kind of keeps that going along are the vinyl heads with the vinyl culture.
I do like the vinyl heads. They cool.
Yeah, so you'll see a lot of that, but there is this there's a thing that's happening where like even when I felt, to be honest with you, when I heard the Khalees sample, whether it was in the song or not, it didn't add anything to it.
I actually barely could tell the difference. I actually
it's
had
15
to listen
seconds
to it more than once, and some of the percussion line,
right,
I had to listen. I'm like, okay, it's the percussion line that they took and layered it over top of it. But I'm like,
and distorting the vocals.
Couldn't just get a drummer? Like, why we couldn't get a drummer to come up with more abstract? It's also the type of sounds. Okay, so like, there's a certain type of sounds that you can get from playing a physical instrument versus going electrical. Now we see people, obviously, like with the 80s, talk about synth and how that came as a mixture. That's a prime example with 80s, like synth and stuff like that. How they layered it with traditional instruments. That is perfect. There you go. Yeah. Now we're in a stage where people don't really play instruments like that anymore. So I think that's probably also why they're moving more to samples even harder than before.
It's very aggressive.
But it is more aggressive now because less and less people are playing instruments to do more sounds or come up with more interesting melodies and stuff like that. It's weird. I think it's weird. I actually want people to play more instruments. You don't have to be the best, but it helps you to understand music, how it's going to be set up in a way that is inorganic. That's what it is. There's an inorganicness here. But because of the inorganic, you do get benefits from it, but people sound the same. It's boring, and it also creates a standardization. And the standardization is why people are bored with music. It is.
Yeah, well, okay, and to the point of what you're saying, right? Like, when I was able to get my hands on like, a lot of different, like in Atlanta growing up, like you go to like the thrift stores or you go like to the half price bookstores, and then they're selling like either Miles Davis vinyl CDs or Alice Coltrane joints, things of that nature. And what I always like though, if you was able to get your hands on them, you can do it now on places like eBay and Amazon, but they're usually like reprints. But what you'll do is like, let's say you get a box set of John Coltrane, right?
Yeah.
And then B more because you listen to a lot of it, but you'll hear like alternative takes. Like on one CD they'll have like 12 alternative takes of what is it? The Midnight Cool or something like that, right? And it to me those things were interesting. Of like you can try to hear where the artist was going to take it, or like when they release the updated deluxe versions of Thriller, and then you can hear Michael Jackson with his various alternative versions of Human Nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are
I love that.
Yeah, I like that. So that's experiences like, oh, they could have went in this direction, or they were playing with it. Even the Gorillaz was doing it on some of their albums too, by the way. What I didn't like when I heard that there was a quick update concerning, with Beyonce, it's not even a situation where it's like, and I leave, the ableist comment alone. That's, I understand, I can respect that space. But what I'm saying is that we've seen that happen with Drake's music too, where when there's chatter online, the artist quickly changes something around.
Yeah.
Instead of like being challenging or being daring and bold. And I think, to me personally, one thing about that analog era, once it was printed up, baby, that was it.
That was a wrap.
You get what I'm saying? Like, you can't. unless you're gonna do a massive recall, and then
That's true.
There's
Because we all got it now.
Yeah, because then there's people they gonna keep it and sell it on eBay.
That is true.
15 years later, they recalled all the others, but I got the original edition. But like when they just hear a little bit of pushback online, it's like update.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like that. Tay, I used to play the saxophone and read sheet music. I miss it. It gives more skills in listening to music and understanding music. Yes, it does. Playing music does like an instrument and learning it. At least just the structure. You ain't even gotta be good. I'm not asking y'all to be, like Miles Davis or nothing. But just to understand, it does give you more appreciation, and it also does tune your ear to understand the frequency. It also gives you appreciation from when people actually can play an instrument. You know what you're listening to, and like the technicality. You know how hard it is to hit that. You appreciate it more. It actually gives you a more respect for the craft and respect for life. It creates an experience. So I do encourage that. And as far as in frequencies, something I did pick up when I was playing a long time, if we're with a group of musicians, and this is something that you can do if you play with people long enough, if we all tuning our stuff, like, okay, we're going to tune our instruments to B flat on a concert scale. So that is a scale that people use, and we tune from one of the letters on there, so that way we're all in key and no one's off, no one's flat, sharp, blah, 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 unless, whatever. For in this case, it's B flat, so everyone would be flat. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. Right. So what you would do is, if you play long enough, when you have everyone especially if the room is treated, can everyone play a B flat? And when you heard it, it's this weird frequency where the waves, you can hear the waves crashing against each other if they're disharmonious. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of sound like wah. It's weird, but you can hear it, and it kind of does something weird to your ear. But you get that as a skill as you keep playing. Don't ask me to do that now, because listen, it's been a minute. But it's been like 10 plus years. But listen, it does work, and it does teach your ears to tune into frequencies at a very sharper rate. It does work. But yeah, if y'all can get back into it, because I tell you, the type of music you listen to, you be like, turn this off. They over there playing it like hot cross buns, ABCD. This is not, and I'm not saying this to be elitist. Like, fun music is fun music, which I do like about internet culture. It has fun music, and I guess we could argue that Weird Al Yankovic started that shit. Right. But music that you're actually listening to it for a different experience or an elevated experience, or for you to, like any type of art, question what you're relating to, I encourage it. Get back into it. Get some culture. It give you some time to relax. Get you back in the mood. When you hear real music, people can really play something. It's going to take you to a next level, and also probably will restructure how you feel about who your favorite too. Yeah, it will. Like how I put people, it's like, girl, you fun, I love it, but you're here. This is my fave. I don't want to. Let's just rearrange this, because there's no way. No, you got to keep stuff into perspective.
No, I agree with you on that one, because people we talk. I said that there's an era of contemporary music, minus the R&B men and women, specifically in rap. Now, some of the people that was coming up with their own original music, it sounded great, like I said, with Organized Noise, when they were behind the likes of Outkast. Even to the degree of, at times, with Just Blaze, but he did do a lot of sampling as well. But he did it, the right way. But there is a space, like, from 2007 to 2010, the instrumentals sound horrible. And it really was that space where people were just walking out of the studio talking about fuck music theory. And it's Sin and B More laugh, because every time they play like a record from that era, I get irritated. Like when you guys was playing some of the earlier instrumentals, with what is it? It was some of the stuff that, what was it? The little Nicki stuff, Nicki Minaj. When some of the instrumentals that were being, cause there was some production of hers that got better. Some of the in-house producers were getting better later on in her career. But there's a space, there's a period where you would hear them in interviews say "fuck music theory," and I said, listening to your shit, I can tell. It's
dusty.
Yeah, it is dusty, because like when you growing up, and I think to some extent, I don't think it was all the way regionally biased, because, I think what happened was when you started here, it wasn't so much that some of these people coming out of the South was an issue, because a lot of them were coming out of marching band culture. You came out of a marching band culture, right?
Yeah.
When I was younger, I was playing instruments. Like when you're kind of like in that area, when you're in that section, because that's where even Swiss Beats brought that meet me outside on my big ball. If you notice, Swiss Beats production, DMX production with Swiss Beats, them together, it sounded different than when DMX with Dame Grease, which gave you more of that localized East Coast feel. But that's because Swiss Beats went to school in the South, and he said he participated in the marching band culture. That's why I say it always sounds like whistle and Dixie music when he's doing it, right?
Is.
But outside of the marching band girls and boys, there was a space of beat makers that were on record saying, I don't need to know nothing about a note. I don't need to know about music composition, music theory. Who cares? And then you hear the music. Now you go back, you're like, Jesus, this shit was bad.
This is motherfucking terrible. What is this? This is terrible. This is terrible. What is happening?
No, it is important. And even now you can tell, even, we want to get into it a little bit when we were speaking about a little bit with the SZA, and I'll put this in there because B-More can break it down even further.
Love SZA.
Yeah, I was going to say this just to put this out there. When you listen to somebody, just for instance, like Kendrick, I feel it more so with Kendrick than J. Cole. And I have my reasons, and I'll tell you why. Because J. Cole doesn't give you a diversity of a staccato and flow.
No.
Like, I know his flow when I hear it. Kendrick Lamar, if you ever listen to him, how he flows, he uses his flow patterns like notes. And then he also has the way, and it also is to indicate his vocal inflections and emotional inflections as well. It's a very sophisticated style of rapping he's doing.
It is.
So, but when he sat down and had the interview with Quincy Jones, and he's telling Quincy Jones about his discography, I said, oh, I get it. But when you hear a lot of the gun clap rappers out right now, you can tell these are boys and girls, because Glorilla's out there. These are boys and girls that you can tell all they do is listen to each other's music.
That is true. They don't listen to like older, like they don't even do genres and stuff like that. Right. So like sometimes with deep listening, I do specific genres and I just look up artists that are in the genre. Sometimes I look up specific type of vocal patterns. So like, I don't know, today is contralto day. I'll look up all contraltos, which would be altos with deep voices. So you think like Sade, Sarah Vaughan, to a certain extent, Anita Baker. So like singers that are like altos with deeper voice, I'll just look them up to listen to like some of their songs. No, they don't do that, and it's really boring. I'm tired. I actually, I'm gonna be real, I haven't kept up with like current or trendy music since I was in high school, and I'm not even joking. Like it's been years. And I actually not mad about it. I can listen to the same people every day. If that means I wake up and I listen to Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, whoever else I want to listen to, Aaliyah every day, then I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me. Right. But now on to SZA. Why I think she's phenomenal. To your point, how she structures music is phenomenal. How she gets into the groove pockets of music. How she breaks up staccatos where we getting like more than one movement into the song. It is brilliant. And actually what you're seeing is somebody who's really crafted at jazz vocal stylings. Yes. That's what you're seeing.
Bring that J word
jazz
in there.
Vocal stylings. They talk about some cursive
jazz
singing. No, these are sophisticated jazz vocal stylings. And I actually encourage y'all to listen to different jazz singers and y'all will hear it.
Yeah, think about the likes of recently passed Nancy Wilson. Just look up jazz vocalists. Like if you look up some like good jazz vocalists, like Sarah Vaughan, yes. Ella, like look up some jazz vocalists, you'll see it. Like even if you look up Sade, even though technically Sade is a minimalistic jazz vocalist, she's minimalistic. Right. SZA compared to her would seem like overwhelming in a certain sense. But when you listen to, like, one time I was watching a live performance and it was a run that she did and it was very abstract, and I'm like, I actually can see it because Sade has a when she does do a sprinkle, it's abstract. I also would put some of that into Erykah Badu, Lauryn Hill, Jill Scott. They have
particularly like Erykah Badu, she has she does have a weird vocal staccato how she layers music as well.
Very unique and distinct.
Yes, very unique, very distinct. It's an interesting staccato. But when we listen to SZA, that's what we're listening to.
Right.
And so that's really what it is. I actually am interested because actually as her legacy continues, I do see it like lasting for a long time because everybody's trying to do what SZA is doing, and SZA is just at home twisting her hair and smoking weed.
Yeah.
So
her and
I think it's funny.
Lizzo with the flutes and drums.
I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Sade is overrated. No, it's not. Sade is a whole ensemble. It's not just her. It's named after her, but they're a whole band. Mm-hmm. And I would encourage you to listen to their complete bodies of work. Actually, some of my favorite stuff from Sade is her instrumentals. No, it's not. And it actually requires a lot of work to have vocal restraint. Ooh, that's actually why y'all used to get mad at Christina Aguilera and sometimes Jennifer Hudson because sometimes they don't have vocal restraint. Sometimes like now Jennifer Hudson, I think that she has learned it more, but vocal restraint is a skill. I'm gonna learn it too one day because like I actually might, I don't know, I just want to get back into music how I used to. And you
better drop that album.
I don't know about an album, but I do want to just get, because it was very therapeutic and relaxing for me and it was fun.
I just need one feature. Music. I'm gonna be like Drake. I'm gonna just lift somebody's whole flow.
Oh no, sweetheart.
No, I think also I do want to get into one point that you was heading that direction. We do have something in our culture that's called lazy listening, and
it is lazy.
There's a difference between having like busy noise. I think a lot of drill is busy music.
It's annoying. It's like mosquito music.
Yeah, it's very busy, right? And I don't know, maybe blame it on my grade school teachers when we was in second grade and they playing Ella Fitzgerald along with I guess some of the contemporary rappers around the time, but just giving you game about it. But like when you talk about what you're staying in that, I will say concerning SZA in the way, as you said, she has a lot of movement in how she layers her lyrics.
Very dynamic.
It does require active listening. It does. These things do require active listening, and I do feel there is a very mediocre culture. Again, by the corporation stance on what they deem as music. Like you should look up someone like Adornoff, and he talked about the standardization of music, and this is exactly what we have been baptized in today. You have situations where people are kind of like tone deaf, be more. It's like when we was listening to the Drake album, like we instantly recognize horrible crooning. Like, I mean, Nate Dogg was a crooner. He wasn't, just like knocking out the craziest notes, but he crooned perfectly. He crooned the best to the point where, unfortunately, people said, well, T-Pain is inheriting the throne of Nate Dogg, and I felt like that was a mistake. I said, so we're already going into a weird space because what Nate Dogg did was different. Everything sounded classical. Everything sounded refined. And there was an inclusive idea of soul and jazz as well with Nate Dogg. And then you hear the church. When I heard T-Pain, you remember in band, like when somebody's carrying their instruments and that one kid falls down the stairs? That's what it sounded like to me, So at least that's what I kind of felt about that. I didn't really get that with T-Pain. And I think from T-Pain on, it's just been, just depravity. And I think this is why people were so irritated when he was speaking about Tupac, and he doesn't really have legacy music like that.
I thought T-Pain and Flo Rida was the same person for a moment.
They are.
No, what the band you can go.
You know what? I actually consider them an extension of like the party, dance, EDM, electric music, and stuff that was like the Euro pop trash and music of
I
the
love
90s.
What you say, Euro pop trash.
It rebounced back, and now we have it in like an urban setting with
like
these
LMFAO.
People. Yeah,
but they're the progenitors to the whole TikTok hits
they
too.
They are, but like it really starts with like when they had like house or EDM trash music, they were like, this is trashy, but it's fun.
Yeah,
like
And I respect it as long as it's in a space, but we can't make that and then put them up against like credible people in the game.
No, like everybody stay in their positions. We don't have to do that. That's not actually why we here.
What I did mess with Flo Rida, number one, it took people forever to realize it was just Florida. I said, bro, it's just Florida. Oh, snap, shawty, he deep. I said, no, you're just a little slow. It's not deep, you're just a little slow. But he did say he stays in his lane. I do remember Flo Rida saying, like, nah, bro, like, you know, I travel overseas, I get to make money, I don't have to work in warehouses no more.
Yeah, no, that's all you need to do. Just right, like, let's just stay where we at. You know, we don't have to do all of that. We don't all have to be, is this person the next Michael Jackson or whatever they trying to do, or this the next Whitney Houston. No, just make your little thing, make your money, and get out of there. Like, it don't have to be that deep.
That is true, though. You on point, B more.
Because that's what I would do. I would trap house flip that and be out.
Flo Rida and T-Pain was almost the same nigga.
They are.
Yeah. I get it. And, you know, I don't know. I just, but I do feel like when we was listening to the Drake dance music, I heard bad crooning. And remember I played you the clip of Fabulous talking about if you don't understand Drake because it's just you a broke project nigga.
He's an angry he's an angry person. I don't have time for that. Cause I remember him chasing his wife around the car. Like, I don't
Get
have
in the car. Get in the car. And the father, hey, please, let my dog go. I said, what
is going on in this household?
A Spanish soap opera.
And then she showed up with her front teeth missing. It's too much. It's really too much. Like, you know, everybody stay in their place. We don't have to do that.
Wait a minute. I said, are they trying to poverty shame people into listening
to the things? But it's like, you know, leave us alone. Like, why are you in the poor people business? Why are you in the poor's business?
That man said it's because y'all in project.
It's because y'all poor. No, it's not good. It's not good. It's okay to say that.
Yeah, because you know, Drake's album there wasn't a hint of complexity there. Like I actually understood when Kendrick slid that jazz album out on everybody. He tricked everyone.
Got him. Y'all thought yes. So y'all thought. Welcome to Music Theory. First day of Music Theory, when you show up, especially when you hit America, is fun fact hymnals.
Yeah.
So you learn the church songs.
Man, I thought we was gonna play the drums.
Nope. Hymnals. That's what we're learning.
Oh man, I should have cut. But
yeah,
look,
no, you're learning hymnals.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, I was being a nerd at the time with it because when he showed up with Kamasi Washington and I was already messing. Yeah, I was already messing with that epic album Homeboy dropped.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is beautiful. Educate them. And I remember talking to my boy K at the time, and I said, nah, because at first he was like, I get what he's doing, but he says, I'm trying to figure out why. And I said the album is like years from now, people are going to appreciate it. And sure enough, people start, well, maybe we were wrong about that album, you know? And I was like, it is what it is. But like you said, that tricking people into saying, hey, this is real music here.
It's not real music. Like, if I forgot about it. I don't even remember nothing. I can't remember the lyrics. The lyrics not hitting, nothing. Like, I'm just moving on past the music. It was just a thing. Like, it was just a moment. You know, that's what we call, like, trash. Like I said, the Euro trash music, like that whole thing where we had, like, I'm a Barbie girl and all that. Y'all remember those little songs that used to come out? Like, they were fun, but they stayed in their lane.
You talking about that was right around that Spice Girl era.
Yeah, like, why y'all don't want to stay in your lane?
Then they had that group Bewitched, Say You Will, Say You Won't, C'est La Vie.
See, I don't even know that. I was listening to Where Did You Go, My Darling? I want to know. That's where I was at.
Well, they came out at the same time.
They did, but y'all see people who was around during that time. Y'all know what I'm talking about, like that weird EDM thing that was in the.
You didn't quite know what was going on. Then you randomly saw Kylie Minogue.
It's fun. Kylie Minogue was fun.
Yeah, you're like, huh?
Let the moment pass. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that, y'all. Yo, stop it.
What you think about though? We was laughing about Lady LaSure and Cardi B.
I just thought it was just a normal Cardi B moment. It's just her, you know. It's just her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, it's just what she do. She get on the internet and start flipping. I do think it's strange though. So it's like when you say it's not on my social, none of my social. Girl, you had to make before we start doing that. Make sure you check
your YouTube channel.
You know that anger getting the best of you.
She said,
Every
I
time.
don't know why you even coming after me. Number one, you're wrong. Tell me the reason. Tell me the reason.
See, you got that anger is getting the best of you.
What did LaShura say? Look, I'm just going to address this one time.
She was so calm about it. I just want to bring it up. I'm like, girl, I know that's right. I just came here to bring it up. She was so calm about it in pocket.
I
I've
thought
been reaching out to you.
They got funny voices to me.
They do.
They both of their voices are funny. Like Rockzilla. No, I have been meaning to check out the Patti LaBelle interview on Drink Champ, so I haven't checked it out yet, but we'll probably check it out. Yeah,
but she's funny to me because they say I over sing, but am I over singing or can you not sing? I'm like, you right. That's how she talked to us. Like, it's not over singing if God gave it to you, sweetie.
Yeah, you know what? You remember that time I played you the speaker box joint with Patti LaBelle was on there? With Outkast, he kept laughing every time her part started.
Yo, she is funny.
What? Man, I'm telling you, that's a classic track. But
actually, Patti LaBelle is one of those singers that they're not a minimalist. They're what you call like a maximalist. They do a lot in their singing, but I like it.
Yeah, they're trying to break the microphone.
Yeah, so it's like if we say like Sade is a minimalistic singer, like she does not add a lot. Okay, the inverse her would be like Patti LaBelle. Like you see it now, like y'all see it. Like she sings a lot. Like she's loud. She do a lot of runs. But I don't know. She's able to stop when it get too much. That's something that some of the other singers, the other girls, have to learn how to do. It's not that you can't sing. You just gotta know when to stop. Christina, can you just dial it back for me? Yeah, she just needs somebody to just show her the right direction. Cause it's not that she can't sing. Sometimes it can get like uncontrollable.
You know, she tried to do that thing.
I'm like, oh my Lord.
What is it? Your layup?
Just take it just a little bit. You know, like, you know, just in pocket, just a little bit. Just dial it back just a smidgen and we're there.
Jid said, is she loud or are you just low?
Loud. Right. That's how she talk. Like, if somebody asks her, and it's not that I can't sing. Can you sing? Did God give you the voice?
Yeah.
You know, that's how she talk. It's funny.
Shouts out to JP. He says, or they say, great conversation as always. Headed back to work. Go ahead, man. Get your money. Yeah, there you go. Get your money. Y'all wish him a happy birthday. It's not here. It probably is though. Yeah, I agree with you. I do think Patti LaBelle. I always loved her singing growing up.
I do love her singing.
Yeah, you know, because you know when you growing up in the church, you slide out of there, or you always hear a Patti LaBelle track coming through your mama's gospel
you already
section.
know.
So she may go from Dottie Peoples to Shirley Caesar, and then it's randomly a Patti LaBelle song.
You know what? I also sometimes feel like this with this other singer. This is a gospel singer, but she most of the time don't do too much. But sometimes I see it and I'm like, I wish she wouldn't. It's Yolanda Adams. Sometimes I feel like she gets into a space of over singing. And it's like, just take it down. She's not as bad as like Christina, but just take it down a notch. Like some of her songs, I'm like, dang, girl.
Well, you know why they doing that though, B more, because you got to talk about the grand champ that came out of space, Sister Whitney.
That is true.
You know, because then the CC Winans and the Yolandas, they gotta.
I like CC.
They gotta hold it down. But when you have Whitney come out that space, that's like. And everybody knows she was still tied to the church intrinsically.
That is true. I like CC. I actually feel like CC and Whitney have similar tones. They have
like a
lot of parts in their voices. They have similar vocal tones.
It's probably why they kind of clashed a lot.
No comment.
Well, we got other. I could say some other things. We'll say that for Patreon. You know, just we'll leave it alone. So we don't want to.
Lord.
Yeah, we don't.
No comment.
Yeah, we ain't gonna Bernice King action. I'm just leaving it alone. That's it.
Christina is losing her voice now because she's singing too hard for her throat rather than her. I think you're trying to say chest. It's like she's misinterpreting the culture of black soul singing and thought screaming was it. That is true. So like that's what I'm saying about like people going through church, or like when you start like music theory or like music history and they teach you with like hymnals first, because that is the base. So it's like you know, people who like the culture but they might not have grown up in a black church setting, or you know,
adjacent.
Yeah, so that's probably also why she misinterprets it and sometimes oversings.
Sometimes I feel like that with Jennifer Holiday. Not Jennifer Holiday. What was
Jennifer Hudson.
My bad. Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah,
man. You know, like when she did the Where You At joint. But go ahead.
what you see with Jennifer Hudson is very much so the same thing.
Yeah.
But what I do find is interesting why we're having like similar. You could see similar issues, although hearing their vocal skills, obviously J Hud is outpacing Christina Aguilera in
she does.
vocal, in a lot of vocal technicalities. So, but I think the issue of that is why J Hud could have that issue is, again, I believe she's a millennial. So like rolling back,
she is a millennial.
yeah,
right?
rolling back music education.
Beyonce isn't. Yeah, come on.
Rolling back music
Keep your
education.
demons.
You know what the effect will have even on like black artists. And so I'm not saying she never had any of that, but obviously millennials will be the generation that kicked off that disruption in music teaching, from like one intergenerational music teaching.
Because the boomers and they kicked off the disruption of the education in the music
They
classes.
did.
It's like it's karma.
So I also wonder if that's like an extension of that as well. So I mean, we wouldn't know unless we interviewed Jennifer Hudson. Like, girl, was you?
Well, because the song, some of the songs, like, okay, what she did the song when I thought she said, "I'm telling you," right? But the other one is when I heard the record, "Oh, where you at?"
Oh, I did not like that arrangement.
I said, why is that last part of the sentence
so heavy?
Yeah,
well,
the
Jennifer
predicate
has a
part.
heavy voice.
She
and
does.
I don't like where that song was placed. Jennifer can get pretty high in her vocal, like in her registers. I don't like how low that song started. It was really weird. I just didn't like it. Some of her arrangements I feel like was bizarre. For them to give it to her to sing, I just don't like it.
You know what? It's another thing. The pacing of the song felt awkward to me. It just I couldn't. It felt like they wanted it to be like a slow jam, but the way they orchestrated the instrumental, with some of the hi-hats felt a little different.
Yeah, I just don't like the arrangements that Jennifer Hudson had. I heard her sing this one song from when she was, because she does the stuff for The Voice, like as a coach.
Yeah.
And I heard her sing, sometimes they ask her to sing on the show, just random, like impromptu in between, I guess, when they have, people come on or when they're getting ready to start the competition. She sounded amazing. A lot of vocal control. She sounded like, you could obviously tell that she's really grown into her craft.
Right.
It's really great technique, so I don't know. Like, I do sense she sounds better, but it could be also that maybe when she had that fortune code, she also didn't have enough time to hone into her technique. And I think that's interesting because when you watch her on American Idol, with the contestants were like challenged to grow, like, because that's basically what the show is, like, to grow into, who they are and challenge their musical identity and their musical techniques. She gets kicked off the show pretty early, and I that might just be a whole thing for her. I would have to look at her chart. Like,
no, you're right about that.
It could be a thing for her.
I actually agree with that, and I think I don't necessarily. I'm not one of those people because I don't like to say like this person can't sing or they can't sing or whatever the case is. I actually, like you stated, I do believe she is an immensely talented vocalist.
She is.
What I was just saying, like I did hate how Clive Davis kept forcing the Whitney Houston identity on her. And, so in that vein, they were trying to market her with those where you at hits, trying like in that manner. And I just didn't feel that was necessarily her. I actually would have enjoyed hearing Jennifer Hudson's voice over a well-crafted dance track. I could see that. That's what I was seeing.
That's actually where we're at now. So if y'all want to bring house back, which is fine. But think about how, like, okay, people of a particular age, you grew up with strong vocalists over house tracks. So we have, like, Martha Walsh. Her voice is so powerful, but it's also very identifiable. So, like, It's Raining Men, I Got the Power. We haven't really heard of a voice that kind of sound like hers. And we probably just won't. But because J Hud has a very identifiable voice, a very strong voice, why put her on a track like a house track, and I believe that she'll be able to do her thing, and we can actually see a proper resurrection of house music. I would be excited to see it. Jennifer Hudson and Kate Trinata. That would be dope.
That's what I mean. When I used to hear that like that, it did what you was bringing up about. I do felt like I said, damn, it would sound good for that. And Gigi says people pretending Macy Gray sounded good was really, Macy Gray did sound good. I actually feel like concerning a lot of the lady vocalists, you don't have diverse vocal cords. Like you don't.
No.
Yeah.
No, but I noticed Gigi from their comments because I've been clocking it. I don't think they like diverse female vocal cords anyway. So they didn't like Sade. They don't like Macy Gray. I don't think
that androgynous feel.
They don't
Smooth
like.
operator.
Yeah, because they both have that. I don't know who Gigi, if they're a girl, boy, whatever. But I don't think they like that. And I'm actually curious, Gigi, if you put down artists you like, actually would tell me the type of vocals that you like, the type of voices you have, and what you like about them. But yeah, back to J Hud. I didn't like that whole Whitney Houston thing either because the textures of their voices don't even sound the same. Like Whitney has a voice, it kind of sounds like low key a bell. It's very clear and it's very crispy.
Yes, very.
J Hud voice can be very heavy and very weighty, and you don't get that when Whitney's singing a song. They just don't have similar voices. They just don't. And it's okay. Like, it doesn't mean her voice is terrible. It's just different voices do different things. Yeah. So, like, Gigi said, good point. Yeah, like, it just could be that you might not like deeper voices or women with heavier voices or unique vocal patterns. So, like, you might like women with voices that are lighter, that like are crispier, or like bells. You might like women whose voices are metallic or smoky. It really just depends. We won't know that unless you put down who you like to listen to that's a female vocalist. But the voices don't sound the same. But we were just talking about like the standardization of female vocalists and how they're all trying to get this Rihanna, SZA, a very androgynous vocal tone like Tim's. I love Tim's. Mm-hmm. I think her vocal tone is so nice, but it does fall in line with that that some of her tones when she sings, it sounds kind of androgynous. But it does fall in line with the trend that they're trying to do now. But what I do love about Tim's is she's able to emote like a traditional singer like we used to get, like actual emotion, like you can actually feel the song. She kind of
displays emotions vocally like Lauryn Hill.
Yes, like older singers. Like I don't know what's going on with these singers. They do not emote. Girl, I do not believe that he broke your heart. None of that. Like I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. You know, I'm not feeling it. I feel nothing. You just singing this song or whatever, and it just is what it is. You know, it's not a vibe.
It feels well. You know, it's like remember we was listening to. I said there was Guapale, and then you had like a bunch of like Guapale-ish type energy coming out. And at the while, I remember like I don't know if it was. I don't think it was Spotify. It might have been Amazon Music, and I had it just on shuffle, and they were just recommending new artists. And at some point, they all started sounding like, and I had assumed like for 3 songs it was the same artist, and I went back and looked. I was like, oh, yeah, they're different people.
See, it's boring, but what is happening is there is a real popular trend of androgynous female vocalists that are coming out now. One could also argue, I don't want to be too hasty with it because we can also possibly slide in contraltos again. So I seen somebody talk about how they love Toni Braxton. She's a contralto, so she's a woman with a deeper, heavier voice, much like Sade. You know, only the difference between, I guess, her and Sade, well, they kind of do it because sometimes when Sade gets higher, her voice can get thinner. But I do notice as Toni gets higher, her voice does get thinner, less weightier, but it sounds more clear, like kind of crystal clear, kind of like how y'all like about like Whitney. Like Whitney has like a clear kind of like belly voice. It gets kind of closer to that. That's like if y'all go back and watch some of her music reviews or try to look up newspapers from her when her music dropped, they used to compare her as like a deeper voice, like a heavier vocalist stylings of Whitney. Because as her voice elevates and gets louder, the tone of it is similar. Yes. Doesn't mean they sound the same or they make the same music or they biting each other. It's just categorizing voices and what they're able to do, you know, how they're able to, you know, sound. But I think there's a standardization and it can get kind of boring though. But if y'all notice, most of like the singers out now, they have like androgynous tone, like LMA, some of her songs, if you close your eyes, you don't know if this is a high pitched male or not. Like, and it's not saying like, I expect them to sound like men. I'm not actually upset if women or men can have that a neutrality where you can't tell the genders, but y'all see it's a trend, like it's very popular right now, and so all the singers are starting to sound the same. I also think it's an effort, I was about to say that, to cross over into markets, to get more than one market at the same time, so you don't have to market to specific groups of people. It's just a flatness.
It's that standardization. No, you're right about that, because what what's our boy, the one with the heavy voice that came out, and I told you the only reason why I heard his music because his voice sounded different, and I know the Bryson Tiller golf hat wearing boys, I know that a lot of them was like rocking with him. I personally couldn't get into the music because it was just like I heard it's kind of like that Division dude, the one we was playing.
I thought that was
yeah. Division's music is just like that's why I said that's that whole Tory Lane-ish branch, and I always said I felt like Tory Lanez was like the poor man's grandson version of what we saw with R. Kelly, like with some of the themes. And Tory Lanez, when I first heard him singing, this is before I heard the Say It track and Do It, I actually heard his other stuff, and I kind of felt like he had a lot of Trey Songish energy going on with his vocal cords as well. But there was a space where Division style R&B guys were just kind of everywhere, and I was severely disinterested in the R&B. I think Gallant had something, and when I heard The Weeknd, because some people brought up The Weeknd, when I heard him, I was like, okay, he's like another Michael Jackson-ish type vocal, because we've seen that what they did with like Tevin Campbell, like you've seen that kind of historically in R&B and pop music, and they tried to do it with elements of Justin Timberlake. He swore to God he was going to inherit Michael Jackson's throne.
Oh my Lord, I hate that.
The boy Giveon, thank you very much. Giveon, when I heard him sing, I was like, it was kind of around like the whole Gary Clark era where I was starting to hear like guys that would kind of put you in the line of like Teddy Pendergrass energy a little bit coming out and singing with, hey man, I actually went through fucking puberty. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not trying to alter my vocal cords to placate to 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I understand there's a space for those people, but I did feel like some of the stuff was a little bit too much. It's kind of like that Chris Brown R&B. I genuinely don't. I hate it. I just genuinely hate it. I don't call me whatever, but I'm not into it. It's just I just feel other people can do that style a lot better.
You're right. Actually, when I hear it, like when you played me the Division thing, because I was like, who the is this? Like, I didn't know who it was. He played the video. And I was sitting there like,
you thought it was a spoof.
I thought it was a parody video because I thought he was like parodying like Guy or
I got
Teddy
you.
Riley. That's what I felt.
Yeah,
the energy. I was like,
yeah.
is this a parody of Teddy Riley? Because I think this is great. Because I do think that Teddy Riley really has like done really great things for music at a point, and it was really fun. But then he was like, no, it's real. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, I didn't like the song.
Yeah, same thing with Chris Brown. Sometimes I think Chris Brown, like whether y'all believe it or not, some of the elements in his music is actually kind of New Jack Swing type of energy.
Yeah.
And but it kind of is a staleness there. I
almost like they try to make a Nickelodeon version of New
like
Jack Swing.
a younger cross marketed. I don't know what that is about, but I did watch a video of this girl who was following his career for a while, and she said that he tried experimental music, and that CD had flopped, and so I guess he's went back to what he know can make him money. So I don't know. I also haven't followed his career closely, so I was just like, I'm curious what the fans are saying. She was like, I'm gonna be honest, he don't really switch it up. And,
no, he make Lego blocks R&B music.
He do.
I can transform. I can transform. He's still making that type of music.
And he's still making money. So if his fans like it, I love it.
Yeah. Daniel Caesar, Sin had introduced me to his music when he was playing. He had a song with her. And I did listen to a CD. It sounded good, but he had some goofy talking points outside of music. So I was like, I'll pass.
Oh my God. They said Giveon sounds like gurgling ground beef. I'm dead. No, I like Giveon. I actually want more deeper vocals. If we get in deeper feminine vocals, it's only expected that a male in a deeper octave will come up. It's only expected. We already had like, not trying to roast, but when y'all saw the Omarion Mario thing, we had like the lighter singers coming in, like
you gotta do
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already had that.
Who was that? What's his name again?
Oh shoot, what is Jeremiah?
Jeremiah. I always thought Jeremiah was a horrible version of Dream.
Yeah, like
The
we already
Dream.
had those, so it's only expected that the men with heavier voice would come back. Now, does Giveon have some issues, or maybe he struggles to perform live? Possibly. That's not a crime, but
Might be some hating going on too, though. That's what I personally feel.
But this also is important to practice your pitch without the thing in your ear, because if somebody throw your stuff off, you can still sing live.
You can bounce back, take it
I
out.
remember I was watching a Michael Jackson performance at an award show, and the mic cut off, and I could still hear him, and he was still hitting it.
Yeah.
That's why you had to practice.
My life.
Because if they catch you slipping,
Oh, you can get me, bitch.
it just is what it is. You know, but I do think Giveon can sing, but I think he needs to practice live, and he also has to work on his pitch live with real instruments there without something in your ear to give you the pitch.
You know what? And actually, I agree with you because another thing, Jacquez has been around for so long, but
I like Jacquez. He's funny to me.
But I will say this though, the boy can perform.
He can.
I mean,
He
if
a
you
troll,
want to,
though.
if you want to be honest, like structurally, he does make better R&B music than Chris Brown.
He does.
Like I can't front on him. I love when he was trolling Keith Sweat.
I thought that was funny. He's funny.
Say, young man, you ain't no king of R&B.
He's funny to me. But no, I like Jacquees.
Remember that Jacquees in Ella May situation, and we said she didn't understand American
She didn't
culture.
understand the assignment, but that's why when you lying about being from Atlanta, shoot you in the foot. See, you should have said you wasn't from here so somebody could break it down to you. Like, and there's no crime being from somewhere else, but y'all know, and we just talked about sampling culture and remix culture is a thing. People do it for fun. People do it or whatever to praise the artist that they like. Y'all stopping remixes because people were saying a remix was better than mine. I would have got him on. If I took it down, it's because that version is going to be my version, and then we're going to re-release it.
Yeah,
That's what I would have did if I felt like his version was hitting that much.
I told you I was listening to I don't really listen to like soundtracks. We listen to scores, but I don't really listen. But I did listen to the soundtrack and the score to Into the Spider-Verse. The score already won me over because I like the flips they were doing on there with some of the contemporary music. But when I was listening to the soundtrack of Into the Spider-Verse, they got a joint on there with Coi Leray and Jacquez. He's like, I played the song for I'm Here to Save the Day. I was like, yo, this little nigga's voice actually sounds nice.
It do. And a little Coi running around like a little mosquito. I think she cute. And I heard with her little baby dot
She
red.
do seem like she'd be on Miles Morales' Spider Force team.
She Rocket Power. They the little Rocket Power kids. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna do nothing but throw rocks and smoke weed. That's it.
I mean, at least you ain't gonna get shot up going to the concert.
That's it.
Because they killing people at them concerts, man. Talking about, don't step on my shoe. I remember one time I had got an invite to a Game and Snoop Dogg performance.
What?
It was going to be in Oak Cliff.
Nope.
And they was like, man, because this one, they was like, yo, you're gonna go to that Game and Snoop concert. I says, Game and Snoop concert where? In Oak Cliff. I said, oh, player, they already got Bloods in Oak Cliff. I'm done. I'm not going. Sure enough, it was on the news in Dallas that there was some stuff that took place out there. So y'all gotta be careful with these concerts you signing up to.
I don't need no concerts, and some of y'all can't perform live.
Well, monkeypox is now a national emergency. Y'all might not be able to go anywhere. So. Yeah, but anyway, no, I agree with you. B-More is definitely well versed in concerning music theory, and it is interesting too. Like, she does have a space. Like, we all have spaces like what we think is fun, but I'm not gonna lie. If they put on something and it's just genuinely it's bad, where I'm unnerved by it. Like, that's just it's so bad. But don't get me wrong, it wasn't just some of them Nicki joints, because early on, there was a lot of Big Sean records I would pass over. I saw like it wasn't so much because the tracks, like
the beats.
Yeah, because Big Sean reminds me, like, as a lyricist, he actually is very clever. He's a very clever lyricist. He reminds me of a baby between Mace and Fabulous to some degree, but one could argue that Fabulous is a baby of Mace, right?
He is.
But Big Sean reminds me of Fabulous if Fabulous rapped slower, right?
Oh,
because he does. Yeah, because if you notice with the Mace babies, they all do great with R&B tracks. Like Mace sounded wonderful with Brandy, and then Fabulous did that song "I'm Really Into You" with on the Barbershop soundtrack. Like a lot of those Anne Marie joints he did with her. I think they should have cut an album with each other.
They should have. Actually, Fabulous should have did an R&B thing with the girls. Just get a girl on every track because he do have a good flow for singers to come on.
And the reason why I give it to my man Big Sean, where he took it to the next level. And I actually appreciate a lot of his mental health podcast things that he does with all this stuff he does. But yeah, you know, I mess with that. I'll sit there and listen to that all day.
That's because people keep getting him angry on camera.
I did laugh at Big Sean when he was on Drink Champs. I say
poor baby.
He needs to meditate
Because
he like you saw he was. You remember like the kid get angry, he grabbed a plastic spoon. Big Sean remind me of one of them kids. Like he get angry, he gonna break the pencil with his thumb under the table. You know, but
but you know what? He is an Aries, so they have issues with aggression anyway.
When he did that, what is it, the 22, 24, 88 with Janae Aiko, and at first, I'm not gonna lie, when they came out together for that little 36 minute project, I kind of dismissed it because I wasn't into some of the arrangements of the instrumentation of his earlier works. His lyrics weren't bad. I just didn't like some of the beats they were giving him, right? But when I listened to that album with both of them, I said, man, they do a nice blend of R&B and rap together.
Yes, they do.
So I just felt like, you know, he is a Mace baby by way of Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, no, early on I couldn't, you know, like I said, some of the instrumentals they had people rapping over was just kind of weird to me. I didn't know what they were going for. It's kind of when everybody was getting into that. You know, like on YouTube, they got stock trap music.
It is funny because, like, now you see it on commercials. So it's funny because, like, okay, I told y'all I be having, like, phases. So I had a whole thing where I was listening to a lot of Indian artists. Now I have, like, Indian commercials. So, like, I have, like, I think I don't know if it's Punjabi or not, but it's a dating service that keeps popping up. And I'm like, I'm not Indian.
You are interesting.
Basically, but then sometimes the music be trap in the back, and I'm like, what in the world?
Well, they did have that because remember they had Punjabi MC that came out, like in Jay-Z. He was doing joints with American artists, and it was funny. Like you would hear Jay-Z rap, and then the Punjabi MC would come on there in his language. And I like a lot of that stuff. Some of that stuff you can pull it off because, you know, I know, you know, we've seen it with the Spanish music, even with YG, Tyga, and I can't think of the Spanish dude. He had like the frizz. He kind of looked like an LMFAO member.
Oh my God.
But he started rapping in Spanish on it. You know, so I sometimes I like a little bit of geopoliticking on our tracks.
LMFAO dressed like they worked in a warehouse. You know how people in warehouse kind of have weird mismatched clothes on and everything, a bucket hat, then they have like a Scully.
You know, come on, people. You know that's when your circadian rhythm is fucked up. You don't know what to wear.
Yeah, so like they kind of dress like that, you know.
Yeah, well, it was interesting how they fell apart because the taller one apparently didn't care about like the health of the smaller one. Yeah. The taller one, they said that he wanted to really be the star of the group. And so he tried to do his solo thing, and he got one last hit in, and then his career fell. I was like, damn, they died like just before TikTok took off.
They really did. But, you know, that's when you got to realize what the blessing is. Sometimes it's not about you. It's about we.
It's about we.
It's about we.
What did Chris Rock say? Us is the president. We got elected.
Yeah. You gotta I'll be missing y'all fortune markers.
No, that is true.
Fortune transits lining up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're talking about he was the uncle. Let's see. Kendrick was better than Big Sean on Holy Keys. Big Sean did say he's dealt with depression throughout his career, so yeah. I can get, you know, you're not performing at your best, you know, if you're depressed. That rhymed.
That did rhyme.
But yeah, no, you know, you're gonna have some more of these musical breakdowns that you do, right, B more? Because you know you're really good at it now. You're really good at it. They want you to break down the complexity of Cardi B. And you know, I always say, I said Cardi B is a fantastic performer.
She is. She should be because that was her job.
Yeah, before. Like as a Vegas like showgirl energy. Yeah,
yep,
man.
There you go.
Don't have her to pin nothing though. Remember they would celebrate it because she said she wrote her own lyrics for this song.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I thought it was cute, but like, stay in your lane. Like, I still like Cardi. I actually like Cardi's rapping voice. It's very heavy. Mm-hmm. and it kind of sounds, I don't want to say older, but like older in the sense of like older female rapping styles. Their voice is heavy. I like that. Nicki kind of have a voice where it's kind of, I always kind of account her rap as like coquette. So if y'all know what that is, it's kind of like girlish charm. So she kind of sometimes, and it's not because it's like stupid, but it kind of reminds me of like coquette and like high school girly raps, and I actually like it.
Oh, you talking about Nicki?
Yeah, she in this long extended Mean Girl, like the movie, like Mean Girls phase.
Freaky Friday stuff.
Right, but I liked when Nicki first came out, when she had all those coquette, like girly songs, like High School or Your Love and like Super Bass. It was fun. I want her to get back into being happy and girly and making these fun little frou-frou songs, because they are fun and it do showcase a different side of her personality outside of, I took your man. I'm like, okay, girl, okay. But that's actually one reason why people rally behind Nicki, because she leaned all the way into being girly. Like, I'm a girly girl. It is what it is, But no, Cardi has like a older vibe when they do that heavy low voice, and I do like that too, But I know you ain't write it though. But I do like listening to it.
Man, she gives you a hell of a Milli Vanilli performance.
It
man.
do.
She goes hard. I was like, man, you know what? I give it to you because it was what I was saying about Quentin Miller and Drake. Not all the time artistically have I rocked with Drake. I think there's some things that I felt he got scared about musically. And I think he should have been even more comfortable with challenging the genre because, we see mixes of it before. But, when Quentin Miller's pen game is on point, but his rap voice is terrible. So it's kind of like it was a trade-off, paycheck time, right? So that's why I thought it was whack when Meek Mill blew him out the ocean and said, and Quentin Miller writes your shit. Quentin Miller like, hey man, you fucking up my money, right? But as a performer, I always thought Drake was a great actor on the mic. I think he can give you that performance just like with Cardi B, because you'll hear some of what's that big old tall boy's name, the one that's with Meg Thee Stallion right now that he always wearing his mama's do-rag. What's his name? What's that man's name?
It start with a P though.
Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Meg Thee Stallion's boyfriend, right? I heard him rap. I'm not saying his voice is terrible. He's not the best performer as a rapper.
Oh, Partisan.
Yeah.
I'm like, it start with a P.
Yeah, because I heard one of his reference tracks. I think it was for Cardi B at the time. And I said, I see what happens here. Okay, she gives you a lot more life as the performer.
She does, because she actually has personality and energy, which is fine, but again, keep people in their lanes, what they're good at,
Yeah, you talking about when they start talking about they got Aretha Franklin records.
Everybody be where they need to be.
Yeah.
Does it mean that people won't buy your music or won't enjoy your music? No. Every experience doesn't have to be the same experience,
right.
But I don't like that. But Party can, I do notice that Party can write really good songs though.
Yeah, he does.
He writes good songs and he writes fun songs as well.
Yeah, because when he raps, I've listened to some, I can tell he's really giving you like, but something's not translating.
No.
It's just like, man, I want to, you ever feel like, it's almost like if he was a motivational speaker, the team would lose. Guys, you have to remember, if you want to win, you don't want to lose.
Well, I think this also extends to interacting with people, like people's skills and stuff like that, and having conviction when talking or even singing or not, and being able to perform live performances, being able to stay in pocket, connecting to the music, connecting to the audience is a real skill, and some people just don't have it. Can it be cultivated? You can try, but there's just some people that just have it, and that's part of the effect is being able to tap into that.
Yeah, I get you. No, you right on that one. You right on that one, and
I also wonder if this whole petty culture and people being trying not to be too connected to other people, and I don't want to fall in love energy that we have in this generation also translates through the music. So it's like if you're emotionally constipated here, then the rule of whatever you do here, you'll do there. That's a rule. So it's like if you emotionally constipated here, I don't expect a great performance on stage. I'm just not.
You got BMO. You got to give us one more of them Jeremiah notes.
If we climb,
You gotta do the way he said down on me.
Down on me, put it down on me.
I said, why does he have the roses?
He didn't even throw them out. Girl, he didn't even throw them out.
I said, man, what is he doing? He's like, it's almost like you caught a Casanova on his worst day.
It just was not good. It was just not
But
good.
no, I do agree with you with the point about the intentional disconnect or I'm above it. But
I'm
I also
above it. I like being in love. I'm out of here. I'm going home. I'm about to eat dinner.
That's what I was telling. I was like, hey, look, man, I can't listen to Future right now or Zero. I need to put that on the back burner. You see Future over there cracking.
Well, see, he's having a real moment, and so maybe that'll translate to good music. Because when he made that record after he broke up with Sierra, it was good. You see my point, right?
Yeah.
You
Emotions.
see my point? Okay.
You got blood in your vein.
Every time Adele break up with somebody, the music sound better. She's been too happy too long. That's why y'all not getting nothing.
That's what they claim they said about Mary J. Blige, though.
Need a heartbreak. Some of y'all just y'all can't tap into something.
Yeah. Well, they do have those artists where they need to be challenged or their art is therapy. It's almost like, I get it, because sometimes, like, if you're really pissed off, you can get a good rant, roast, joking session going. You know what I'm saying? True. So, and a lot of times there's no hunger, where what is it that they're going to be going through?
I think it's also a loss of desire and will, and that also can be also the fact if you have everything accessible in your fingertips. Mm-hmm. So it leaves a disconnection with work ethic, what you're able to do for work, because working is divine. It is. Yes. Being able to exert your physical effort and it matriculates as something that you can get out of it. It is divine. So, like, what happens if your everything is too accessible to you? You can lose the drive. Yeah. It can make life seem less about anything. Like when you see parables like about vampires, okay, most of the time you see them, they're wealthy, they have everything, but they lose the interest in life. Life becomes meaningless. They're bored. At some point they hate their existence because they've outlived everybody. They can't have no connections. Nothing's surprising anymore. Nothing's challenging. The same thing kind of constitutes for that when we having abnormal lifestyles or abnormal existences, how that can impact how we socialize with life. And that's really what y'all should learn from vampire movies, because that's actually what's happening. So, like, it creates a monster. You can't really relate to life. You kind of like the Living Dead type of energy. So I think that really, that's why our music bad too. Y'all actually, people too proud and
too many followers.
Yeah, they're too narcissistic, or they have too much ego to actually experience life, or actually to fall in love, or even to fail. So, like, a heartbreak means that it was a failure in love somewhere. Like, so if we're too egoic, like, oh, I want to, like, y'all seeing streams about if people who should pay half of the bills and not y'all go with y'all are mutually, on the same page, and then whatever happens from that. We're not getting good music because everybody thinks that they should be so egoic where they don't have to have emotions, and that actually is how y'all become sociopathic. No, it's called a sociopath. That's why our music sucks.
No, that is true, because I'll give you an example. Like, I do feel the Kodak Black appearance on Kendrick's latest album. It does take away from aspects of it, because the message in itself could, but that's his muse he chose, right? It is what it is. However, though, I will say when I listened to the album, he sounded interested. He did sound like he wanted to, I do feel like, how about I just say it like this without even that? I think artists who don't spend all day on social media, when they come out with a project, it feels fresh. It feels like they went somewhere to live an experience. Yes. And I remember, there's one thing that Kendrick said on the album. He said 6 years he was uninspired, but he had to go give birth to his second child. He had to go travel. And that's what happens with a lot of artists too. What we're saying is that when they come back and they're hungry, they have a life experience that happens. Like, I think one of the big reasons why Drake sounds so dead on the mic, he is on social media and concerned about social media way too much. It's almost like there's nowhere that Drake disappears and he comes back to tell us what happened when he was 7 years in Tibet. You get what I'm saying? It's like we saw him. He's commenting on things. He's there. He's getting mad at people. He's following people out of spite. And like, bro, go away, have some experience, because there's supposed to be a breath in this thing too. But this is what we were talking about, byproduct of, capitalism, always trying to be hot every summer, hot every winter, hot every, time around. And I do think with a lot of artists, they don't go away.
No.
They don't go away, and not even for fans to simply appreciate them, but go away and live your fucking life for a moment. Like,
everybody wants to be at the mountaintop all the time, and it's literally impossible. Like, that's actually not what being a human is. You would have to not be a human. Hence why, again, the whole vampire reference. You would have to be unnatural for that to happen. 2, I know everybody be like, oh, this song was the soundtrack of my life, and every time I listen to this, I think of this, and it always bring back. Okay, in order for you to do that and to make music like that, you have to tap into the human existence. Y'all not having normal human experiences, and you're also not going away to find those experiences either. So, like, you also not extrapolating yourself maybe out of your environment or just living life to get these experiences either. So that's that. There's that too, So it's a cycle. That's why older artists, when they disappear for 6 years and they come back,
something crazy.
The music is good. Like, we don't have to have a track. We don't have to have a record every year unless you're trying to get out your contract, which I'm onto you, and I get it though, because some of them things are slave deals. Yeah. But outside of that, you just go outside and live life. Like, there's the reason why everything sounds the same is because we don't have anything. I know they say, well, this is all y'all buy, but I'm like, I guess, really. But y'all also not making anything about the human experiences. So when I hear like Ari and she makes a song about getting her first apartment, I could relate to that because I know what that feeling is like to get your first place or get you out on your own for your first time. That's something that you can relaxingly.
They forgot about the come up. Always trying to look perfect on social media.
It's not about that. It's about actual real experiences. So what's going to happen is, right, because y'all aren't willing to have real experiences, you're going to want a perfect life. You're going to actually miss out on having a meaningful life. So your life don't mean nothing. That's why you're depressed.
Everybody
your
out
life
here
don't
lying.
mean anything. So in order for for life to mean something, you actually have to be willing to feel and have emotions. They're not. You can't have it both ways. That's not how that works. Yeah. So you got to take the wins and the losses. You got to take when you're out in the sun, when you get to go back home. That's how you have a meaningful life. You can't have meaning while also trying to be perfect. They don't exist. And you might even trigger some psychosis. Like just hang it up.
Well, that's why I really believe, I do believe, like, even with the more recent Cardi B situation, like, there was a disconnect there. It's kind of like, as you can see with the pandemic twice over, right? And then, they might probably go into another one, because they got to get these streaming services back up.
Yeah, with these monkeypox. I'm like, Lord.
Keep everybody inside, that's all I'm going to say on it. But, but when I heard the record, I was like, Lord, there's such a disconnect here. And I do believe that's why, interestingly enough, I'll say this before I get to that statement. Imperial Stat says here, K-Dot's album sounded forced to me, no replay value. You know what I do? I will say for K-Dot, just for you people out there listening, I think this last album would be his equivalency to J. Cole's For Your Eyes Only. It has that same energy, and a lot of people be forgetting about For Your Eyes Only. But anyway, I do feel like when they do come out, be more to your point, and there's like no expression of existence. I think this is one of the reasons why people are like, give me a SZA album. I need a SZA album right now. I would like to hear something different. Everybody is always the A1 nigga. Everyone's always the top man, the top woman. Everybody got, if you criticize them, you hating on them. And I think that's why people are looking for what? Because SZA is a baby of jazz and soul music. People are looking for soul in the music. That's what people thought they were going to be getting with some of these artists. That's what they're looking for right now. You have people, folks, do you know how many people have lost somebody to the past, pandemics? 2 years, even, B More, she'll tell you her story, but even with DJ, when we was talking to him, he lost like 6 people in his family. Yeah. So people they don't want to hear about bitch shake your ass.
I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, they don't want to hear how you scammed a credit card on a nigga and they're dealing with grief. And grief, it does come in various forms: financial grief, you have family grief, familial grief, you have even just direction of where you feel hopeless in certain regards. And this is why people then they go lay up under music. You get what I'm saying? So I do feel like that. I'm telling you, I think that's what's happening right now. Because I saw when that Cardi B joint came out, I was like, bro,
she don't get it.
Dog, y'all are so disconnected.
Exactly. She don't get it. But she didn't get it the last shutdown when she was telling people how she flew her family into the town and they all got COVID tested and they had Thanksgiving. Keep that to yourself, because there's a lot of people who can't be with their families tonight and they're all alone.
Yeah.
So it can come off insensitive, to the fact that like they're suffering. And you doing that can trigger more suffering because it's forcing them to think about their own suffering. Yeah. So I mean, no, you're absolutely right. Like, I don't want to hear that. Now, what y'all should be doing, I don't know, come up with some medical Marvin Gaye what's going on music. Yeah. Come up with that. Like, people, family dying. Nobody want to hear that.
What's going on?
People do not want to hear that.
And more power to you, Dom said yesterday they attended a funeral, so more power to you and energy. But I'm telling you, that's really what's going on. And that's why I laugh at Drake. Drake keep thinking it's about people don't like him. No, they don't like what he's doing. And I said, none of your music is speaking to people's souls.
Nope.
But that's what happens when you walled off of y'all castles after a while. Because remember now, even during the pandemic, some of them was still dropping stun on broke nigga culture music.
Well, isn't that what Fabulous said? You can't relate because you're poor.
Well, okay, then that would be the point of you keeping your mouth shut, shawty. Because you get what I'm saying? Like, if people are really going through shit, they're not poor because they're stupid. I think that's like you're poor because it's your fault, right? And then again, when people flip it on them and they be like, yo, they got my masters, or this industry racist, and people be like, hey, bro, maybe you just stupid.
All right, but that's why we going back to antagonism, okay? Remember that. And remember we talked about antagonism when I first got on here. Yeah. Like people being antagonistic and nasty for no reason. What was the point of that?
I tell you what I'm going to do when he said that. I said, you know what, Fabby Davis, you right. Let me go ahead and turn all your shit off and go over here to Alice Coltrane.
Antagonistic and nasty.
Well, I ain't got to hear nobody talk.
Nobody talk, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, people just being unnecessarily trashy and just, it's cruelty. It's just unnecessary. Like, let's just keep everybody in their place. You know how you cut up at a family dinner and one person, it's like a matriarch. They be like, everybody sit down and eat and shut up. I'm sick of y'all. Y'all making my food taste nasty. Everybody shut up.
Yeah, you right. Candy says Fab is only rich because he's a tooth fairy.
Shade. But it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, that is true. But hey, listen, that's one of the reasons why, before we dip up out of here, that's one of the reasons why a lot of the organic podcasters online, have been able to reach the masses and the hearts of people too, by the way. And I'm not talking about these big budgeted corporate guys. I'm talking about the everyday man and woman that actually has something to say. Because, people went like, well, shit, if we're going to listen to anyone, well, why not we listen to ourselves?
That is true.
Because let's not act like the celebrities didn't try to fit in there with they, homegrown roots. I'm just like y'all shit. T.I. put on the beret. Talking about black man and black power, black woman and queen and all that other type of stuff. So I just think it's funny. But yeah, there is a disconnect with the soul and the heart chakra and what you was talking about, this idea of just not being antagonistic. Because a lot of them do feel like I can only make a song if I'm antagonistic to the culture.
No, we don't have to do that. But that's what we say, like vulnerable narcissists being antagonistic in a way that is unnecessary. And also like it's also anti-community. So if you can only like quote unquote connect with people by being antagonistic while also complaining like I have no community, we're having a conflict of interest.
True.
So that it implies selfishness and disagreeableness.
Well, that's all right. We turn all that off. We just sit up and watch Craig and the Creek, right?
I'm watching Craig and the Creek.
Craig and the Creek.
Yes.
A very empathetic, possible Pisces man.
I think he's a Pisces.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Very happy kid. Also, so be more. You want to break down like what exactly some of the things, ideas of what they're going to find on your Patreon?
No.
Good. Okay.
I'm joking.
Well,
No,
go ahead.
you guys can go on my Patreon. I do have articles and stuff about the transits. Like I said before, my YouTube channel will be up in a few days, and it will be talking about the transits for your rising sign and Western astrology. So if you're interested in that video when I post it, make sure that you know your rising signs, because that's what I'm calculating for. Now I will also be having a series that'll be about Black Panther, and it talks about some of the spiritual indications on the trailer that we just saw, and also on the first movie. And so it will span the first movie and also the second movie as we get closer and closer to the release date. But yeah, if you're interested in that, you'll be able to follow my YouTube channel, which will be up in a few days. So yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna be up. Yeah, I'm about to get it in. You know what she's about to do. If you don't, look, go back and listen to the Black Panther conversation. You're gonna get a lot of that energy over there as well. Support her on the Dummies Cauldron, and we'll make sure we post all of that in there. Don't worry, the stream will be time stamped as well. So we're gonna make sure we have that going for you all. You guys know y'all can continue, as y'all always do, support us in this channel with our Patreon, Thought Crimes. Y'all just punch it in. You know how we upload our podcasts and things of that nature there. And then we also have, cross situations where, we go to Be More's, and she's over there. It's all under the same roof anyway. So y'all know what time it is. But yeah, mindful thoughts today, people.
Yeah.
Don't tell lies, or unless you're going to end up on the stand like Alex Jones. I mean, if you're going to lie good. Just saying. And then as far as Cardi B and Lady LaSure, I think pay attention to your social media sites.
Sure. And try not to give into the lust of rage. It gets you every
I
time.
think she jumped to being a hot chili pepper.
It get Cardi every time.
First of all, you got caught in another lie today.
It gets you every time. It is lustful.
She talks like a Muppet to me.
She do. I remember when I watched one video, she was screaming about somebody talking about her kids, and I'm just like, oh my Lord. Get off of here. Get off of here.
Oh my goodness. And Beyonce and Khalees, to the followers, I know as far as the worshipers of Beyonce, that is not an I gotcha moment for Khalees. She's not losing anything behind this. Some people acted like she didn't get to sit at the cool table. Like that's
also that actually tells me what y'all school experience was like.
Bro, man, they fuck your table, dog.
You don't get to sit with us, but like lo and behold, you don't get to sit there neither. Like y'all really I think y'all was doing like some of them mean girl, popular girl antics. I don't, cause that's what it gives me. Some of y'all.
Well, yeah, no, you're right about that. Cause like I just said that different. Wherever I said, cause I didn't care. I was in that cafeteria for a little bit. Only thing I used to do in the cafeteria, I used to roast and tell jokes and freestyle. But it didn't matter what table we sat at. The crowd was everybody's about to start laughing in the cafeteria. So I don't know. I sat at the robotics team table. I sat at what is it? The football niggas were, the basketball, the jock niggas. They weren't talking about anything. Don't nobody care like that.
It is weird.
I accidentally sat at the cheerleader table one time because they had an open seat. And that was the only table they rolled their eyes at me.
But that's what I'm saying. Mean girls. So y'all giving that.
I did tell her. I said, man.
And you know what it would be like if I could be you and have my stuff stolen and then be on another record after my stuff was stolen? It wouldn't have been me. Yeah, it's not you, because obviously you don't care about people stealing from you.
I ain't gonna lie. You right about that.
That was weird.
The mean girl tables are they were the most pettiest, because I remember I accidentally sat the girl. Did he just have the nerve to sit here? And I asked them for one of their milks too. Well, I was ignorant. I said, y'all go. Shit. While I got y'all attention, y'all gonna drink your strawberry milk.
Yeah, but this also showed me it's interesting how y'all. I wonder how y'all acted as kids, cause some of y'all was like little ignorant kids, and y'all grew up like little nasty kids. Y'all just
I get what you said.
And cantankerous.
Yeah, cause the way they acting with the I'm just telling you. Man, they were acting with the Beyonce thing.
It's weird.
That's
Beyonce
what you get.
Ain't even talk.
She did it.
She never spoke. So it's like weird. Even with the Diane Warren thing, Diane Warren, because it's like she ain't even at nobody.
No.
Y'all don't know who she talking about.
From what I see with Diane Warren, apparently she's kind of like a talented airhead.
She is, because she could have been talking about anybody, because that whole having multiple songs layered is a popular technique now.
Yeah.
So you don't know who is she talking about.
Well, yeah, and also because you saw when Mariah Carey had to move her out of the way. Like,
yeah, because when she was taking too many pictures of her, like, all right, baby. All right. I don't know, you don't mean nothing by it.
That is a good point. Everybody, they are treating it like tables in the cafeteria online.
They like Mean Girls, and the nerds sit here, the jocks sit here. It's giving weird, cliquish, high school musical energy, and I don't like none of that. I hang out with whoever I want to, ask about me. When I was going to prom, I used to bring friends to prom, and then we would all go to each other's prom, and I was going to prom like till I was 19 to other people's prom, and then we had choreographed dance moves to songs. Like, listen, we was in our own vibe. Like,
yeah,
y'all
it was like
getting
you was
too
having
young.
an actual social life.
Yeah, my dress was dirty. My dresses used to be dirty because I used to be on the floor getting it, like doing, like literally.
You gonna say, what do you mean, be more? You gonna say, you know how that sounds.
No, we used to. No, we had a whole Vogan routine. I had this white dress. The dress was trashed after it. My
That
mama
means
had
you
to
had
hang
fun.
it up, but I had got like,
what do
up outta
you
here.
do?
I was death dropping in the prom dress. So y'all I'd rather have fun and have a good time and all this other stuff. Like,
That's the truth. That's
y'all
the truth.
just acting like Mean Girls. It's weird to me.
That's what I said. Like, no, that is how I treated high school. I was just having fun. I didn't have any bullies. Like, that whole thing about the people trying to make fun of folks, man. What's going to happen? I'm gonna have the teacher laughing at you. I'm gonna have the assistant principal walking past the door. Can you sit him down? It's funny, but baby, can you please sit down? That's what we about to do. We about to have fun while you trying to look cool. You know what I'm saying? And I do see there's a lot of pretend cool people out there online.
Yeah. It's all right. Because, like, if I roll back some of them pictures, it's like, if somebody's on my, like, Facebook, you would see me in full on, like, marching band outfit clothes. Like,
It is funny. You
you
got a
know,
cute pie face.
with a little cute pie face, looking like a child that I was, and playing my little clarinet. That's it.
That's a happy life.
Y'all it's okay, y'all. It's
Shouts
okay.
out to Craig of the Creek.
It's okay. Y'all don't have to be cool. Just be authentic.
Here's the funny part about it. You're not cool anyway.
You're not.
Don't nobody know what that shit is.
It's actually corniness.
Yeah, don't know. If you really think about it, like, nobody's cool.
No.
Nobody. It's like, whatever. It's a marketing term.
It is. I'd rather have fun.
Yeah, it's, and most of the people that actually were cool, we can look back in history and they look cool to us. Like, when you see a silhouette of Nina Simone, you're like, yeah, that's cool. But, they're dead now. So, it's kind of like they immortalized, like you look at Tupac, oh, that's cool. Or Whitney Houston, that's cool, right? But when they was alive, man, they were getting criticized. We were like, that shit corny, what they do. Like, you think about, like, the people that was talking about them, but they were like, when they died, they're immortalized, and you look back in time, everything in hindsight looks pretty in 2020 a lot of times. You're like, man, that's dope. That's dope what it is.
Does.
Well, yeah, so anyway, on that note, Beyonce's not paying anybody's bills. At least I don't think so. Even more so with Joe Biden, but we'll get into that later. Folks, we do appreciate you so much. And we're about to have B-More do some more dancing too, by the way. And then Sin is over here. Shouts out to Sin too. We love her. She's out here handing us the producer notes.
She is. Wrap this up. We need to eat dinner. I'm like, you right.
Wrap it up. I'm hungry.
I'm actually hungry. You're right.
All right, y'all. You have any final words you want to say? Encouragements, prayers for these people out here that they out here killing each other in these the Beyonce Khalees wars and everything else.
Outside of the Beyonce Khalees wars, we do have a hot nigga transit right now. Y'all take it easy because actually it is kind of raggedy and people probably getting more accidents and more arguments now.
Yeah, that is true.
So everybody chill out. Stay away from people. They being ghetto. You go the other way.
Stay away from people that got conflict.
Just like Fantasia said, you go the other up way. You turn around. Get out of there. But it is a hot nigga warring transit with people they very ashy right now. So
that is true.
And I've seen it. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, she's right. I was at the store and there were people getting angry with each other. Dude, you fucking backed up into my eggs.
Yeah.
I said, what? Let me get out this line.
Fucking bitch. I'm like, what? Yeah, little scratchy people in potato sacks just
See
going
two
at
white
it.
ladies get into it. Let me put my dog down. I'm about to whoop her ass. What?
And your dog, he sniffed my dog. I'm like, all right. Jesus, take it down a notch. Lord, have mercy. He is not that serious.
Come on, y'all.
And it's hot outside.
Go back to y'all dogs and yoga.
Yeah.
Let's chill. Let's
yeah,
chill.
It is a lot of high energy. So y'all just really take it easy.
Absolutely. Well, folks, we love you all. Love yourselves. Love us back. And have fun and enjoy the rest of you all's nights. Peace. We are out.
Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me. Is that a challenge?
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
White folks are nosy. They have specials. Nosy specials. Why does a bee make honey? You ain't a bee. Why do you give a fuck?
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
If he dies, he dies.